Ever been watching the ALGS or your favorite Apex Legends streamer and heard them saying things like,
"Hacked one, gatekeep this team, that's gonna be Pierre the Rat,"
and wonder, what are they talking about? We wanted to take a moment to shine a light on some of the most common terms you might be hearing and wondering about as the newest season of the ALGS kicks off.
This is gonna be fun, brother.
Crack, no. He's cracked.
Cracked, or flesh, is something you'll often hear when a player informs his teammates that he has eliminated the armor of an enemy and they are now vulnerable.
Wraith is cracked, man.
In the game, this is accompanied by a satisfying sound.
Crackad här inne.
I kidnap two. Okay, I kidnap two.
He's again and he gets another kidnap!
Kidnap is a sneaky tactical maneuver in which a Wraith player will use their ultimate to make a dimensional tunnel to an enemy team's location with the goal of having an enemy accidentally get sucked into the tunnel and be whisked away to their deaths at the other end.
This third party central.
We're gonna have to third them.
Here comes the third party.
Third partying in Apex Legends is a situation where two squads are fighting each other and another squad decides to join in, usually waiting until one team has been eliminated and the surviving team is licking its wounds. As you can imagine, this is about as welcome as someone cutting in on your dance or showing up when your party is over. But for the team doing the third partying, it could be a blast.
Let's go, man!
This has been some perfect gatekeeping. Great job gatekeeping this squad. TSM are one of those teams gatekeeping.
Gatekeeping is a tactic in Apex Legends where teams take strategic advantage of choke points on the maps, choosing passages where teams will most likely need to go to escape the encroaching ring or other pursuers. Teams will often set traps or barriers as they lay in wait, spider-like, for their prey.
So this is actually a great rat spot. High tier ratting right now.
Devious rat strat.
Rat, also known as rat strats, are when a player is the last living member of the team and chooses to strategically hide with the intention to gain them placement points. The goal is simply to outlive and outlast opponents, whether it is by shadowing a more aggressive team, finding a corner, or a bush to hide in, or just finding a place that's difficult to assault. Ratting can even sometimes result in a surprising solo win. While this barely scratches the surface of all the insider language players and casters use in-game, we hope this short list of player slang will help you follow all of the upcoming action with your favorite streamers and in the Apex Legends Global Series. And remember,
the game is not merciful to those who lack imagination.
looking for scary lobbies, frightening team comps, and ghoulish zones, you've come to the right place. Welcome, one and all, to the Apex Legends Global Series Pro League. I'm Kat Yeager today, and joining me in the dropship, we've got El Gran Onseto and El Diablo, Dan Ablo. Gents, welcome.
Thank you, Kate. I'm really excited about today. As you can tell, I've managed to combine two passions into one show. This isn't Onset. This is, as I say, El Gran Onseto, as I remember my own name. But I've combined something that I love: Apex Legends, the Pro League, all of these amazing teams with some pro wrestling. So I'm on cloud 9 right now. Hey, another term, but this is EMEA. We're not getting there yet. I'm getting ahead of myself. Right. I'm excited.
I was gonna say, speaking of excited, El Danablo.
Yeah, I mean, I've done what Mark's done. I've combined my love for just evil in general and become... well, actually, Octane has an Oni skin, so I feel like I'm kind of like Octane as well today. I've just tucked the teeth away so that I can talk a little bit more clear. But boy, am I excited for today. Watched all the action yesterday. It was fantastic, and I'm sure it's going to be amazing today as well.
Well, you know what? Speaking of yesterday, the hype was real. Let's take a look down memory lane with this recap from yesterday's EMEA lobbies.
You and I, we are not alike. No, you don't shine when they hit the lights. I don't make myself bleed for this life and these kind of nights.
Caustic gas absolutely everywhere. Can barely see through all the yellow. That's before the rings included as well.
Hot dogs, they want static, they want smoke, they push high ground on major pushers.
And we've got bombardments all over the place. There's no time. They need a shield swap, Mimu. Trying to go for the bat in plain sight, trying to go behind his teammates' shields. And he's able to do it just about. Doing as best he can with the L-Star, but it's going to be Kungana who come in and drill them straight to the floor.
We got the city on hold, we put on a show. My brothers know this blood is pain made us too cold. So we gon' die on the floor before they take it home. See that look?
5 squads now remaining, and it's looking very, very messy around this trailer in the middle. 789 sends their move now to move in. They'll pick up one knock. Dungeon Masters, one of the last 2 teams alive now. Exin's going to move in. He'll pick up one. Ruabe, though, from Top Dogs, he's on the other side of things, and now it all falls down to Exins. It's a 1v1 here. He's only got 10 HP to work with. He gets the crack. Can he get the reload? The shield swap isn't there. Oh, my God. Oh!
It's game time.
Trying to find little edge to play with, and they know that the carnage is about to begin. Dragon are in a very good position to win this in the final 3 squads. They have the high ground. The grenade spam starts as well. The Valk just makes it easy. Complete huge target there. They come down from the top now, Dragon. This is their game to win. The Nova spam is coming through, and they'll wipe out all the remaining teams.
We are not alike. It's game time. You and I, we are not alike. You don't shine when they hit the lights.
789 gonna go out. Solo Q go to go out as well. Big Bam gonna love that.
I said it's game time. Feel the pain in my voice right now. Yeah, it's game time. Come and ride with a killer. Come and ride with a winner. I said it's game time. Yeah, I said it's game time.
Deleted by those shotguns, had absolutely nowhere to go. We go down to the last 2 squads. 4 gang, where have they been?
Yeah, in the distance is where they've been. Now they have a 3v2, a perfect opportunity to win this game for them. The Caustic ultimate's going to come through. The damage is in. It's Roby up to do great damage with that Caustic and with that Ava 8. Horizon trying to do everything possible to stay alive, gets the shield swap, but it's too much from 4 gang.
Can't live what we've been through. I put that on my head.
RPR still alive and still looking to save the game here for Scars.
Maestro's best performance today has been 3rd place. They're trying to better that right now. Maestro sitting in 6th place with 37 points. Multiple picks on our analyst desk, and you can see why Maestro has been playing really well today. But it looks like they are going to be able to take this final game.
Well, that is what I call some devilishly good gameplay. Speaking of Dan Ablo, talk to me a little bit about some of the themes we saw yesterday, but more importantly, what you're expecting to see today for our EMEA A versus C.
I think yesterday we saw a lot of teams try and take advantage of a week 3 where you have to show some consistency. If you don't pick up the pieces from what you've left behind in weeks 1 and 2, you are slowly going to fall away from the leading pack. And I think that is going to be the same here today, in today's show. We need to see some teams try and take advantage of the ability they could go top of the leaderboard here. There are a few teams who maybe dropped off in week 2 but had an amazing week 1. And if they do find that form from week 1, suddenly they're right back up at the top. But if they don't take advantage of that, then they may just start to trickle down the leaderboard.
El Gran on Seto, we talk about those leaderboards. This is what the EMEA regular season standings look like, both pages. But remember, we've only seen B and D groups yesterday, so obviously A and C groups today. Talk to me a little bit about how this is looking going into today's 6 EMEA games.
Well, the first team that jumps out to me is GMT Esports. They have an opportunity today, if they put up a big performance, first, second place, something like that, to jump up and really challenge Guild Esports, who are currently sat on top of the pile. Guild didn't have a great day yesterday. Maestro did, though, so you can see how that's closed the gap between multiple teams. Top Dogs as well, a great example for all of those outside of the top 10. How one good day can really throw you up those leaderboards. They're now in 8th place after taking home first yesterday. But you're looking at the likes of Gambit. They're holding down that 10th spot. They've been a little bit up and down. They need to have a good day today. And the same can be said about the likes of Na'Vi, the likes of Alliance, down in 22nd and 23rd, which I think for everybody watching at the moment is certainly some sort of surprise.
Yeah, and Dan Ablo, I believe that this is like the one page has one story and this second page has and tells another.
Yeah, it's disappointment is what is on this page, if we're completely honest with ourselves. It's teams who haven't performed but need to perform now in this week. Mark highlighted 2 in particular who are playing today, Alliance and Na'Vi. That's who I'm going to be keeping my eyes on in terms of teams who have been pretty disappointing so far. Yes, okay, they've had some okay placements at times, but the points they've put on just haven't been enough to match those who are right at the top of the leaderboards. So I'd be expecting them to really now show what they're made of here in week 3. Otherwise, questions start to be asked about rosters, about whether they can kind of, match the rest of these lobbies that we're seeing. So I want to see a big performance from those 2, as well as a few other teams as well, of course.
100%. Yeah, this is going to be a real interesting day, to be sure, and not just because we're wearing fancy dress, as you gents would say, but also because a lot of these teams are some that we would like to keep our eyes on. And for that, we're going to go into our Lenovo teams to watch. El Onseto, start us off.
El Gran on Seto. It's fine. It's fine, Kat. Don't worry about it. Kat Jaeger. We know that. I remember it. It's fine. We're going to start off with our teams to watch, and one team we're going to be looking at to kick things off is Zeta Division. And the reason that I want to look at this team is because they bounced back from week 1 and put in a really strong performance in week number 2. And the reason that I'm kind of got my eye on them is they're in 14th place in the overall standings. But as we mentioned, when we looked at those standings today, they have the opportunity to close that gap and get into the top 10. A lot of their strategy in game relies on getting an early good spot inside of that zone, slap bang in the center, where they can really take advantage of that Loba black market. And not only that, as Nine Pulse has said himself, he can take advantage of the 2 players he has on his team in Sunset and Taskmaster to do some crazy things mechanically. Now, Team 2 is going to be Gambit Esports. Again, a little bit up and down for them. They're holding on to that coveted 10th place spot at the moment. But my concern, Dan, is that up and downness. When they get a zone that's close to them, they're pretty good. But when that zone moves a little bit further away from them on World's Edge, they start to struggle.
Yeah, I think that's why we have to highlight them as a team to watch, because they do have the ability to win lobbies. They have the ability to be one of the scariest teams around. The individual skill that we see, their 3v3 fighting ability as well, you combine all that together along with how they do push, is going to mean that they can just pick up some serious points. And the rest of the lobby, I know it's Halloween, they are going to be terrified of Gambit. But Team 3, a team I want to talk about is Na'Vi, because you talk about up and down. They've had like a few games where we saw them finish in first, we saw them finish in second and third, but across the entire 6 games, they weren't necessarily getting that consistency. They were dropping down into 15th, 16th, 17th, sometimes even 20th. And that needs to change. A Na'Vi lineup who I think there's a lot of expectation from when you look at what they've been able to achieve as a 3 on other teams as well, as individuals, I'm hoping that they're going to just find that consistency again. They're going to gel, and they're going to show us what they're made of here in week 3, because they have to do it now. Otherwise, I feel like they might just be too far behind.
Well, and that is definitely a dare to be great scenario, so we're excited to see these teams and others popping off today. That has been your Lenovo Teams to Watch. And El Gran Onseto, I want to start with you. And by the way, saying that name continuously is ridiculous, but I'm here for it. At any rate, let's start with you real quick. Any honorary mentions? Because there's so many times when we come to that final circle and like, they came out of nowhere. Well, no, they didn't actually, because a lot of this middle lobby is doing some incredible work. Any other teams you want to mention in sort of that honorable mentions category?
I want to kind of talk about GMT as well, because they've gone under the radar a little bit. You know, they made it a roster change. They got rid of Yuki, or Yuki was decided to go over and play with Alliance, and they picked up Badoli, who I always think Badoli makes any team better. He's one of those players, right? You put him alongside 2 players who are good. He makes those 2 better just from how he plays in game, from what he does. He's that flex character that just gives so much support and great input, and also he has a calmness about him as a player. So them being right up at the top of the leaderboards is an amazing return to form for them. They've been one of the form teams, and I've talked about form a lot so far in the Apex Legends Pro League, and I really think that today they might have that opportunity with some of the disappointing performances from the likes of Guild yesterday to jump up into first place.
Dan Ablo, let's talk about it as we take a look at our talent predictions. Anybody else you want to make sure you have our eye on, and why is it GMT?
I mean, funnily enough, Mark was talking about GMT. That's who I'm going to predict, so I apologize in advance because my predictions the past few weeks have not been particularly good, except for week 1. That was when I hit the nail on the head. But since then, I've dropped off, so I'm hoping that GMT will pick things back up because, I mean, if you look at what they've managed to achieve so far, it's a no-brainer because they have had consistency. They do look like a team who could just kind of destroy everyone here in week 3, so I'm excited to see what they offer. Mark, however, has decided to not go.
I'm picking on behalf of Onset, by the way. As you can see there, as a Lucha Libre, I never take my mask off. It's a big thing. So I'm picking on behalf of Onset. Yeah, I'm going with Zeta because I think that their form last week was really impressive, and I think in this lobby, there's a few teams who I think are some of the weaker teams we have in the EMEA region. So I think they could feast on them. And I'm looking at KP today. I think that could be a big influence. Excellent. Well, let's get right into it. And for that, I will say goodbye for a little while. Gents, take it away here for game number 1. Thank you very much, Kat Yeager. It is going to be El Gran Onseto and Dan Ablo to take you through the first game. I don't know how long I can keep this up for. I'm going to do my very best, Dan. And this is going to be a very interesting day. I think we've got an opportunity for teams who are at the top of the leaderboards to really extend that lead, but it's also a pretty terrifying week for some of them, like I mentioned with Alliance and Na'Vi. If they don't perform today, I reckon they might leave themselves too much to do. I don't know how long I can keep this mask on. Same. I've just realized what we put ourselves in for. Like, we could have just gone with face paint, already anything. Like, struggling to breathe. As soon as we go off camera, bang, it's up. I can cast. It's normal. But yes, you are completely right. It's a terrifying week for a few teams. That's no pun intended, even though it is Halloween. We've got to be looking at trying to actually find what these teams are capable of, because we always talk about the likes of Na'Vi, the likes of Alliance, and they're often in teams to watch, they're often in predictions and who not, but they just don't seem to be this scary team that we know they are able to do so. So I think if we can see them just have that 1 week, we regain that belief, we regain that desire, and then who knows, maybe they can start to consider themselves as a top team once again. But right now, they're not a top team. They are a middle board team at best, and that's not good enough. Yeah, I agree with you. I think all the excuses are kind of, you know, first, second weeks, like, I made some comp changes, we made some team changes. It doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter anymore because we're week 3 now. We're really getting deep into things, and before you know it, those playoffs are going to approach quicker than you could possibly imagine. But it is time for things to start off today. You know what time it is, everyone at home. It's time for Apex Legends Pro League to kick off, and we're going to jump into game 1 here on World's Edge. Yeah, I'm really excited for this one. After watching In the Wings yesterday, I was kind of looking at some of the things that teams were doing. I was looking at whether those comps were changing and developing as we've gone through week for week. But teams starting to look a little bit more comfortable now. But there are still a few outliers. There are still a few teams here or there across both EMEA and North America who just seem not to have quite got it yet. But maybe this week is going to be the week. Well, we'll have to keep our eyes out to see if there's going to be any contesting happening in game number 1. Always something you need to keep an eye out for in these Pro League groups. But as we know, they do scrim throughout the week, and usually those kind of things get settled early on. Now, This is a story I'm very, very interested in today, Dan. Gambit Esports. Landing over here at Lava Siphon. Their rotations are usually some of the best that you will have in the game due to their central landing location, but it's been so inconsistent for them so far. I want to see a big pop-off week for them as we see our beacon give us the information we need.
And they've got a few difficult decisions to make here when it comes to their rotation. Naturally, you'd want to transition through staging, but if you do so, you kind of go from a low ground to a high ground, unless you go through the room, but that room can obviously be taken by another team, so that is just a disgusting thing to try and put yourself through if a team has taken residence. So I'm sure that's going to be the discussion from the Gambit boys at the moment, but you are right, their drop location, central zones in general and central drops seem to be better for those teams who have been able to get consistent placements, who have been able to get consistent points, and those teams who have to transition a little bit further across the map, who, for example, are dropping heavy outside of the area. I mean, statistics don't lie. It proves that those who have to move further are struggling to get the points for the most case. I know there are a few outliers, there's a few teams who do kind of go against those statistics, but we'll see how the zones affect things today.
Another team who is struggling at the moment, to be honest with you, is Underrated. If we take a look at the overall leaderboards, I think they're down in like 27th, 30th. They're really struggling at the moment, and they really need to step it up, because I feel like ever since they changed from the Revenant comp, Dan, they've struggled a lot.
Yeah, and I think Revenant meta did allow a few teams who maybe, I don't want to disrespect them, right? But it gave them almost a crutch for maybe someone who wasn't as adequate in reading zones, wasn't as good at like kind of playing for the late game. Instead, they're just good team fighting teams, right? They just like pushing, they like being aggressive, they like ruining everyone else's game. But now, without the Revenant being part of the meta, suddenly you have to switch your brains on a little bit more, and that has become difficult for a few teams to transition to playing that way. Don't get me wrong, I think that all those teams who did find success with the Revenant can still find success in a meta like this, but it just takes some adjusting, and it seems like some teams, it's taking longer to adjust than others.
Well, let's see to France. They're currently inside of Skyhook, and they're currently on their loop path as they try and make a little bit of a rotation. When we do see that zone as well, the trailer at the back is where I'm kind of feeling this one might end. You have that building right next to it as well. So the train tracks, teams will rotate through Hot Springs as well. Maybe some teams will try and make a little bit of a late rotation from the north of Skyhook. But we're going to see that beacon being hit as well. So we will get that third beacon information. Oh, excuse me, they haven't hit the beacon yet. So it will be second beacon only for them as now. As New Esports are also in this lobby, Dan, and I would say they have been, in EMEA, arguably the most terrifying team to fight 3v3.
Yeah, when you see New Esports popping up in the kill feed, you are pretty certain that it's going to be them killing the other team rather than them getting taken down, and there's a reason for that, and it's just the way they actually engage in fights, the information they gather before they push into a fight. They try and ensure that they're not going to get third party. So, I mean, clearly, when you've got a crypto, you do have that ability to do so as well. You've just got to make sure that you push in at those right times. You don't want to leave yourself vulnerable to a third party. And a team that we go back to, Underrated, they are not being able to transition safely here. They tried to push through, and instead they're getting griefed from several different areas, it would seem.
It's each division who are firing the shots down upon them, so they've had to back up for now. You can see that Jazaz is going to have to pop the Phoenix kit to not only restore those white shields, but also a little bit of HP as well. So a change in rotation is required here from Underrated, and it looks like they're going to just slow down a little bit. But these few seconds, Dan, it can hurt your rotation so much. One spot that you want, you take a few seconds to get there extra. Before you know it, when you arrive, someone is already, peeping through the curtain saying hello.
Yeah, sometimes it is just a race, and if you fall at the first hurdle or the second hurdle, then there are going to be other teams and other players catching you up, looking to try and make a similar rotation. And we know how difficult it can be when gatekeeping starts to happen, and when teams have already managed to get to a spot to really kind of these bottlenecks that we see so much of in World's Edge as well. You got to get through those early. If you don't get them through early, you then kind of back the rest of the lobby up, because you wait, you hesitate, another team then sees you, they have to wait, they have to hesitate, and we get 4 or 5 teams that are just waiting to go through a bottleneck at times. Then you get the panic, you get those teams that will just Valkyrie up into the air, try and land on a spot. That will then increase the likelihood of a fight elsewhere, and all carnage just breaks loose as like zone kind of 3, 4 starts to close in, and there's just no room for all these teams trying to push into the circle at the same time.
Invictus Gaming have found a spot to play for now. Some shots are going to come in. Let's see what their plan is and what their next move is going to be by jumping into the comms.
Oh yeah, we should trade armors, Bryn.
Yeah. Come back and
down.
get my purple. Come back and
Yeah,
get my
get
purple.
Blasters purple. And
Careful
blast
the
can charge
line
up.
of sight. This window can see. Thank you.
3 squads nearby, guys.
Zone probably will end down here.
Yeah. Turbo there, Bryn. Turbocharger. I don't know how useful that is. 2 squads now. There's 1 team right on the edge. There's a level 2 backpack here, Bryn.
I got level 3.
Plus, I think I'm going to run for this backpack. Yeah, I'm going to do it. There's only 2 squads, alright?
Yeah. If you find a sniper scope, grab it, by the way. Any. Like, I have a 2x.
Of course,
so.
of course. Just watch over me here, Bryn, alright?
I'm watching north right now, and northwest.
Oh, I found an Eva. Let's fucking go, my slime.
Nice. Team playing blue truck and on.
I cracked one on the west. Over here.
And I'm going accidentally muted.
Yeah. Let me just check my beacon real quick. Hang on. 1 squad nearby now, guys. I'm going to open these bins real quick. I'm in the open here, but I think I'm safe.
Be careful.
I'm going to go loot this for a blast, okay?
It might be these 2 teams, the blue cart and Edge. What is the range on it?
200 meters.
Yeah, it will be these 2 teams then that keep coming in and out.
I have level 3 heavy mag. You guys need it or not?
I'm gonna. No. I can put my flatline. I'm gonna play more bats while we're saving these 2 teams now.
Yeah. I'm bringing you a 2x4.
Lovely. I can drop a 2x then. Yeah.
Bryn, you want 2x fly?
I got 2x.
Okay, I'm throwing a level 3 heavy mag at you. Wait, no, I'm not. There you go. I'm gonna sit in my drone now and just feed info. I'm going for beacon, alright, boys?
One thing I always love hearing in the comms, Dan, is that small talk. And even though it was more about loot than rotations, just the little things really stood out for me.
Yeah, not really much for them to do aside from just kind of wait, see how these next zones go. They're in a decent enough spot where they can just be patient at this point. So instead, it's about trying to pick up some extra loot because we saw 1 white armor there. Not going to be good enough when we get to the late game. So they need to look to try and increase that. And if there's no damage to be output, then loot still has to happen. Le Site de France are in a little bit of a skirmish on the edge of the zone right now. They're trying to make their way in. But they're being held up here, and that's not going to be an easy rotation in. So we need to rely on the likes of Wraith to probably get a portal in here, unless they go for the
really
back.
Tough for Joke to do so, though. He's trying to get behind that rock and trying to find somewhere to move, but you can see the multiple angles upon him mean making any sort of wrong move here could mean that he gets knocked, and then his last 2 teammates are going to be taken out pretty quickly as we see that zone moving just to the south of Lava Fissure. So it's actually going down to the Hot Springs area, moving away from those tracks ever so slightly. But I do say that with somewhat bated breath, to be honest with you, Dan. Some of the zones we've seen, those shifts around zone 4 or 5 have been unpredictable, to say the least, in the recent weeks.
Yeah, sometimes you do just have to go with your gut feeling. You could go for the finish just, as you say, south of Hot Springs, like on the height, where you just drop down for that last very final smidgen of the circle. You've also got just north of Hot Springs and south of the tracks, and again, you want to be on the height there because you can get caught in no man's land if you're down on the lower part. So you kind of gamble on either of those sides, and then there's the more rare pull, I would say, when it pulls a little bit further east. But that could happen again when you look at where this circle's going. But certainly most teams are going to gamble on that Hot Spring height. You can already see a couple of pings here from Alliance. That's where they want to take.
Well, here's New Esports. I talked about their 3v3 fighting ability. And it looks like they've just won their first one of the day. Kashira has fallen, though, and you can see that with 19 squads alive and with that zone starting to close as well, they have to be pretty careful, but there's a really smart portal coming in from Tyler. They'll be able to get back up to their feet, and New Esports giving us a perfect example, Dan, of what we were talking about earlier.
Unfortunately, though, there's the Arc Stars coming in. The team that was nearby is relentless, but they are pushing into a caustic, so they can defend here, New, but can they actually find any success? It looks like Tyler is really going to struggle.
Using those knockdown shields, about a second away from getting the battery off, but it's not going to happen, and New Esports fall victim to the third party. And we'll be out second here. But speaking of which, third party, fourth party, it's Halloween. Let's have a Halloween party, because inside here, Uprising are going to be almost eliminated immediately. Crazy, the last player alive, and that's Kick, seizing the opportunity. And here comes the fifth party. Na'Vi want to say hello, but the lack of damage that was taken means that Na'Vi will not have a comfortable time pushing that.
No, Na'Vi thought about it. They wanted some free KP. You can understand both pushes that came out of the other teams, by the way. They're both weak. They already saw Nox in the kill feed. They knew full well they were going to be taking on just a team of 2. It's a shame for New Esports in particular, especially earlier I was saying how they are a team who usually kind of takes a fight. They don't get third-partied as often because they've usually done enough scouting and they plan their fight successfully, but we didn't see how the fight actually began, and they almost got away. If the Arcstar hadn't come in, they were able to get back up and they were able to, all three of them, just hold that building with the caustic, then maybe they could have survived. Alas, Kick came in and they did some damage alongside Uprise.
Well, here's the move coming in from Invictus Gaming. You can see they're outside of the next zone. They're trying to be proactive. However, there's player-wide swinging, but Bryn given some great cover by his teammates here. The Skynade is going to go down. However, defensive bombardment is going to force him to jump into the void to retreat to his teammate. So a lot of utility being used in this fight already, Dan.
Yeah, there's just going to be a lot of noise being made as well. So there will be a few teams here or there considering maybe having a poke. There's going to be the team that's going to be in the building just to their northeast, also able to do some damage in this fight. But they don't have to move just yet. That's the good thing, even though, yes, they know the zone. Right now, they're still within round 2.
Blast is really, really weak here, and he will fall to Na'Vi, who are on the other side of this fight. So it's now a 2v3 for them. The question for Na'Vi is, do they want to push this, or is that EMP going to slow things down? That is going to be Invictus, who might actually be able to get a res off here. If they're pretty calculated about how they want to go about things, they do get Blast back up to his feet, so we're back to a 3v3, and those shots from Noises will allow his caustic to heal too.
Na'Vi are just being a little bit reluctant, and that's because they know full well on the other side of the building, on the other side of those rocks, there was Kick Esports. The push they were going to make but didn't make in the end. Kick will be rotating around, they will be looking to make their move, and Na'Vi can very easily find themselves as victim to a third party if they got too aggressive. So IG able to just about hold on for now, but now there's more teams. Kick Esports also popping up in the kill feed. Blast goes down, but the res is going to be trying popped, I'm sure.
We managed to get a couple of barrels down as well. So one thing that's interesting to me, and I've seen in a couple of comps so far, is a couple of Gibby-less comps here in EMEA, which is something which is crazy to consider. I think 100% pick rate last time that we were here in EMEA, the groups we were watching.
It's just not something you'd expect, right? I mean, we saw, what, 99%, I think it was, of Gibby at times. Yes, okay, it dropped down to about 80% in EMEA, but still, Gibby just seems to be so important, and it does surprise me, but I'm also all for it. I love composition changes. Maybe it's just tactical, right? Maybe they just don't want to play Gibby, because if too many teams play Gibby, it's definitely getting nerfed at some point. But right now, it's okay. They seem to find success. Some teams just play better without the Gibby bubble. Sometimes the bubble can be a hindrance, because you expect it to save you, and then suddenly Crypto just blasts it out, and you can't use it.
Well, here is Kick Esports. You can see they got around 40 seconds to make their move, and it's going to be quite a transition. There's probably going to be a fight on the horizon. So let's jump into the comms and see what they say.
Need to for your portal. Let me know.
Give me one, give me one.
Take
I will pop it right now. Any gold helmet? No, okay.
No.
I will have portal in 25.
Is this this is in this rock? Yeah, this in. Yeah, I'm not sure that says this house is taken. I'm not sure because
this rock is playable. We can move left. Yeah. I'm gonna check left. People on the left. Array.
There is a Kraber on the right.
I'm healing. Somebody watch the choke, please.
I'm watching.
There's two teams on the fissure. One is on this house, and another was getting shot on that way.
Okay, I have Valkyrie ult.
Alright.
They're gonna push. There on my mark.
It's fine. Maybe we can trip this house, okay?
There is a guy playing there.
Yeah, he's getting shot. It's 1 HP. He's low, really low. He's team on the choke. They moved there. He's still healing. I'm healing. I'm low.
I'm with Yarko, okay?
Alright.
I cracked one in the truck almost. There is a guy there. We play on the rock.
Yeah, we play on the rock.
1 HP, Buffon!
Move to the rock, please. Move to the rock.
Behind this shit, Q, nice OG. You're gonna kill him. Kill him. Nate. They're gonna die if you need. Nice.
Knock.
Nice. Chill, boys. Good job.
Chill. There is a Kraber on the house.
Wait, there is a guy below us.
People there. Doesn't care. There is a cracked house. There is a Kraber on that house. Be careful.
Inside
under the breach. People under the breach.
And people there.
And people on the truck. Yeah. They're getting hard shot. They're gonna get trippy by these guys.
Maybe we might have to move left after.
Yeah. Look at this race. Can we win, man? They have no bubble.
I don't see.
See.
Wait, she's gonna trip you. Chill.
She's moving.
Yeah, one guy still below us.
She's going to trip you already. Let's move under the bridge. Watch out with the Kraber in the house.
Okay, I'm making Q on them.
All good. Let's go. Move. I'm popping a cell.
I'm coming closer, okay?
We should move. Yeah, move. They're fighting. Try to trip it out. They just finished.
I don't have ulti, by the way.
Crypto team
I'm
chasing
taking
us.
top, I'm taking top.
Well, a big moment here for Kick. You've seen the comms, you've heard what their plan is, and they're going to try and third party this team that's in front of them. The only problem is OJ Rain's been caught off guard ever so slightly, and his two teammates are taking damage as well. The Gibby bubble goes down, something which Dan, I think Invictus Gaming would have wished they had when they were just caught out a few moments ago.
Yeah, unfortunately for Invictus, when they tried to make their rotation in, there was just too many teams looking at them. Kick caught them a little bit by surprise, and then the nades just finished the job. For Kick here, they've not got much time to make this move. They either need to push this now or change their mind. Looks like they're going for the latter. They're going to change their mind and try and rotate in a little different way. There are only 12 squads left, and I say only because we have seen zones like this, which suddenly means, you know, there are usually 20-odd teams in a zone like this, when there's, like, more area to play and whatnot.
We're going to have a quick replay of the moves made by Catboys just a few seconds ago as they were taken down, I think, by their opponents as they get taken out, and I think it was Zeta Gaming who were on the other side of things, so big kills for them. GMT also in the kill feed here, you can see that, and Victor's actually still alive as well. Bryn staying alive for now, and oh my word, Bryn is doing some magic inside of the zone, jumps into the void. If he can find a rock to heal behind, then this would be massive for Invictus Gaming.
Has to run, can't miss any shots here, and he's just picked up some extra KP as well. Gets the armor swap, Bryn can carry on. It's gonna be the zone that kills him in the end, but gets into top 10, gets some KP. Amazing work from Bryn.
Amazing stuff and great shots coming in from Hiaka as well. The portal will take them to the side of this building. The EMP will go off, which is going to cause them some problems, but a great little bit of stalling there, Dan, waiting for the EMP to do the damage before dropping that bubble.
This is absolute carnage in this circle as well. Kick now down to just one player, and it's going to be just trying to scramble to get some more placement points. At this point, you'd imagine they shouldn't be able to do anything other than that. You can see where that circle has moved. It is going to be that kind of high ground to low ground that I was talking about right at the very start. And at the moment, Alliance seem to be in a pretty decent spot for this one.
Well, we'll have to see if they've got control of that high ground, but you're completely right. It does look like there is a team above them. So Alliance are in a difficult position here, and it's Fenerbahce Esports who have, in my opinion, the god spot of all god spots here, the high ground, with teams who will be forced to move below them as well. Massive third-party opportunity for Fenerbahce.
The only good thing about where Alliance currently reside is Fenerbahce can't really look down on them and shoot them, because if they do, they expose themselves to the rest of the lobby. So Alliance can rely on that cover, but they have to take the fight to the teams who are going to be pushing them from all these various angles as well. But look how nervous they are. They keep looking up to the top. They know there is a team above them that could do some damage, and there is the consideration of maybe even a sneaky attack here, but that's what happens again. You can't expose yourself to the rest of the lobby. You've got to try and play this one very sneaky.
Oh, Hackett is forced to jump into his inventory and get a battery out for now to get himself back up to full HP. The crypto drone is just causing issues here for everybody, knowing that it's alive, knowing that it hasn't been taken down, and knowing that EMP is just around the corner could cause problems, but so could a Caustic ultimate, and so could a Gibraltar one as well, as that will force Pinky Finky and Cast Ryan down onto slightly lower ground here. No hits coming in from the defensive bombardment, but it looks like some shots and some decisions are being made by the teams below.
2 ults were thrown, and maybe a Valkyrie ult is coming in as well to try and take this high ground, but Fenerbahce have been forced down, and they're going to be forced down into several other teams as well. There is going to be a lot of caustic gas around. It is not going to be easy to survive.
And it's the defensive bombardment of Gambit Esports as well, who's causing the problems. It's all about the boom in this lobby as the missiles drop, and now Gambit playing this ramp might be one of the last teams to be able to rotate out and maybe once again be the team and the players to third party this opportunity. All planned inside of the building, but they're going to have to move from low to high.
Alliance have lost 2, but still alive in terms of the squad. 9 squads still remaining, so no full eliminations, a couple of rats here or there, but that is good news for the likes of Gambit, who have just played this zone really successfully, where they forced the scariest team off of their ultimate high ground, but there has been a couple of reses come through. Gambit are aware of that, but they're taking the fight to the right teams.
Fenerbahce now eliminated. The last player, Pinky Finky, has been taken down. So Gambit doing some work, and it was actually the missile swarm that got the job done. Something we don't talk about enough with Valkyrie. We're all about the Skyward Dive, but that missile swarm can really cause some damage and force teams out from undercover. All plans still inside of this building, still waiting for any kind of opportunity to move. You have to think maybe a late Skyward Dive up onto the high ground is their plan, but underrated a setup on top here. They're kings of the castle.
And sorry, I don't mean to correct you, but actually Fenerbahce still have one. It was a res, it came up, and now there's still one remaining player. So still one rat from Fenerbahce, still one rat from Alliance. So there are two extremely weak squads around here. It's Draconian the last, and then you also see Gambit just waiting. They're holding, they're gatekeeping this area at the moment, not allowing any teams to be able to comfortably push from this high ground, whereas the low ground is where teams are going to try and get to now as the final round is closing.
Well, Sirius is going to be moving forward. That rat's causing them some problems, and that EMP is going to cause them even more because they barely have any cover to work with. However, they do have a Kraber, and it only takes one shot to warm that team off, and a 145 is going to knock Shades down, and the team inside of the building now are more worried than I normally am walking on my own at night on Halloween.
Still good for Gambit, though. They've managed to take this kind of platform at the moment, but they know full well there's another team to that right, and the other team will push them here.
Ardeki gets one, but his two teammates are going to be in some sort of trouble here. Let's see France trying to hold down this platform and overlook everything that's going down. Gambit doing what they could to force them off of the height, but it's not just happening for them at the moment, as Sirius now will hit one, and now he'll hit two, 319, and that will make their traveling forward a little bit easier as the carnage is really starting to open up as the skies open up as well.
Actually, all planned in a good position right now. Only two of them, but I think everyone else is pretty weak in this squad as well. Yes, they're going to be shot from up above, but they have the damage. They have the weapons. They just need to hope other teams distract the others right now because they're back up to 3.
You have the bubble maybe in a few seconds as well, but it's looking like they might get pushed. It's going to have to be a big Kraber shot coming out of Sirius to try and even this up for now. But look at this. He's found himself a sneaky little spot, and he's unfortunately slid down, but those few seconds could be enough here. Won't be credited with that knock. Won't be able to finish off that down as well, but Sirius is doing serious work, but it will finally be eliminated here by Eternal.
Eternal are going to take the champion as well. They managed to just close things out in what was a disgustingly messy final zone. There were so many teams that have been getting into little spots, little hidey holes, but just not enough in the end to close things out for some of the teams who had just brought themselves down to just 2 or 1. There were so many weak squads on set, and El Gran on set, as I have not put my mask back down, but I will still just happily reside as Dan Gaskin with a mask.
He revealed himself. I'm just going to say, by the way, I have never been hotter casting a video game. Can't breathe. It's a whole thing. Don't worry. I'll get through it. It's a me problem, not a you problem, everybody. But no problems for Eternal holding down that low ground towards the end of the game with 11 kills to go alongside it as well. Dan, the perfect way to start off your day. 23 points on the board.
I kept seeing them just pop up in the kill feed there, and I was wondering if they had lost a player, whether they were going to still be a full 3, and it came down to whoever really was a full 3 in that last circle, because it was a lot about individual ability, running around, trying to avoid other abilities whilst you also did damage, trying to pick up the KP that was on the floor and whatnot. There were some teams that just were getting downs but weren't getting the KP because they weren't able to finish. An extremely messy one. There were some teams who probably thought they were comfortable. Fenerbahce, for instance, you said they had like one of the best positions in the game, but they got targeted by 2 or 3 teams. I think there was 3 ultimates thrown at them. They forced them off the high ground, and they must have been so frustrated with that.
Yeah, very difficult to kind of take that when everyone starts to focus you. But here's the stats from that last game, and you can see big stuff coming in from Monbloom with 1,554 damage, not 15, and his 2 teammates alongside him picking up some decent damage as well. Jelly Corn on the Gibraltar doing some really good work for his team as well. But one thing I took away from that in this lobby, Dan, just looking at compositions, it seems like it's Gibby or Caustic at the moment of some of these EMEA teams.
Yeah, they're not really combining both of them, and I think that is becoming more prevalent because Wraith and Valkyrie seem to be extremely important as well. Crypto has shown a lot of importance on other teams who are looking for a little bit more scout information, also looking to try and counteract all those Gibbies that do float around here or there. But yeah, we'll see whether the Caustic will combine with Gibby at any point. I know that can create for a very different playstyle, but at the moment, comps seem to be all over the place.
Well, it's time for us to jump into our first break of the day. Eternal are your champions of Game 1. Game 2, just around the corner.
Monster Energy, the official energy drink of the Apex Legends Global Series.
My daily routine that helps me improve my mental health is working out.
I have a cat, I have a dog, love spending time with them.
Sleep has been the most transformative thing for me, and it is so helpful.
You know, I take the time to do like meditation and stuff like that.
Practice makes perfect into kind of breaking bad habits and building good ones.
I promote.
Yo promuevo y practico la salud mental positiva.
Welcome back, everybody, to the dropship, the Halloween dropship. I am Julius Fallout, joined alongside Hound Kitty herself, as we are live with the special edition of ALGS today on Halloween. Hope everyone's having a great time. Vicky, I know you're enjoying yourself.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to go through another week of the ALGS, but of course with you, Fallout, I've been looking forward to this day, but it's going to be a good time with game number 1 already in the books for Eternal, who honestly popped off despite that positioning that they were on the low ground right there. I was a little concerned. Gambit Esports, they were looking fantastic. They had the best position on the high ground. They were popping off.
Yeah, absolutely. And Eternal has kind of low-key made some noise, made some ripples throughout the Pro League so far. We haven't talked about them nearly enough, but they've performed. Currently sitting in 16th place. That's obviously a little bit skewed because 20 of the teams competed yesterday. And overall, great start for this Eternal squad. Bambino, Jellied Corn, and Mun. Certainly no strangers to the ALGS. Bambino and Jellied Corn particularly. Mun, kind of a rising star over the last 8 months or so. It's been fun to watch this multinational team really continue to perform. Bambino, Jellied, of course, coming from Ireland, and Mun coming from Poland. Meanwhile, LCDF, the all-French squad, second place for them, Kick in third. And Vicky, so far, not the teams you never necessarily expect in the top 4 here.
Yeah, honestly, the one team that I was looking out for this entire time, Fallout, was Le Site de France. This squad has been doing so well within the last 2 weekends, and I felt like that consistency was going to stay going into this 3rd week. So it's nice to see that pay off for them, especially seeing that they're a pretty hyper-aggressive squad. They love to play those edges of the circle, but they like to capitalize off of any situation, and that's why they're sitting in 2nd place right now after that first game.
Yeah, that's right. By the way, you hit that Le Site de France very, very well. I know you as a native Spanish speaker, but apparently you also got some French in you, girl. You do it all.
Yeah, I took some classes, you know, and it prepares me for moments like this to hype up a lot of these French players that have been able to put on a lot of work so far.
Absolutely. And the French community, I gotta say, big shout out, Vive les Français, as they've been performing in Apex throughout the entirety of Apex's history, dating way back. So the Cité France has kind of been the staple. Obviously, they've won championships in the past. They've been a very solid squad, and they're off to a good start so far in Pro League. I know it's Onset's pick to do the best today. That's his prediction. So we'll, of course, continue to keep an eye on teams like LCDF, and of course, teams like Eternal currently in first place. But then you have teams like Alliance. You have teams like GMT who got taken out early. What happened to them, Vicky?
I'm looking at Alliance specifically, and they haven't had the best performance despite us highlighting the squad a lot. Week 1, they ended with 33 points, I believe, and then in Week 2, they ended with 34 points. So they've been consistent in terms of points, but not the consistency that they may want, because in the overall leaderboards, you have them sitting with 5 points in 22nd place. So this is not the Alliance that I'm used to seeing. I'm wondering here, if you're still trying to figure out what composition works best for you, maybe you want to stick to something that you feel more comfortable with, because trying to go for a lot of these compositions to match some of these squads just has not really been working out for squads like Alliance.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you said that. If possible here in this early game, I'd actually love to highlight Alliance on this drop as we see the drop ship flying across World's Edge. Alliance known to drop Thermal Station, and actually had a chance to catch up with Chef Pontus, the manager of this team, also the chef of this team. I'm a big fan of my man Pontus. He was kind of sharing, look, first 2 weeks, we were a bit disappointed in our own performance, and I think rightfully so. Alliance sets the bar so high for themselves, and they said, we played a new team comp with Crypto because Crypto was kind of the flavor of the month, and it didn't really work for us. It didn't work and didn't match our play style. Then they, of course, switched to Octane. They played a little more aggressive. He said, we're going to go back to our bread and butter, what worked well for us in Champs, and that is Valkyrie, Gibraltar, and Wraith. In my opinion, Hockeys is one of the best Wraith players in all of Apex, and we get to see Hockeys back on his main legend. I'm excited to see what he can do on Wraith.
And what I really like is what you highlighted right there, Paula. You highlighted that they went back to what they felt comfortable with, what they felt like they were getting way more results with, instead of going with what they had originally swapped away from the Caustic into the Octane and Crypto on day 1, and noticing it didn't work out for them. And now seeing where the circle is going to be pulling towards the southern part of the map, we've seen this circle plenty of times looking at NA for that day 2 of just last week. So many of those southern circles were so chaotic because you have a lot of these choke points from a lot of these squads that are going to be contesting, leaving the northern side, leaving the fragment choke point, and then I'm also looking at the choke point next to Geyser.
Yeah, that's going to be a really interesting zone. Of course, teams like Alliance, GMT are probably going to be quick to rotate, right? Typically, if you are a team like Alliance who plays on an edge POI like Thermal that takes so long to loot, it's probably one of the longest looting POIs in the entire map. If you get a zone that pulls towards you, you're going to rotate a little bit faster. You're not going to play as much edge. If it's a further zone that goes north, you're going to look to play edge a little bit more consistently here. So expect a slightly faster early rotation from Alliance, who isn't known to be an early rotate team here in this zone, I think. Meanwhile, a team like GMT, we know they like to drop Harvester, and that's because they have a completely different play style. They drop center map. No matter where the zone pulls, they rotate quick, and that's kind of been the Nasky and Strafey and Dell, you know, way back, that God Squad back in the day. That's kind of been their bread and butter since way back when. I'm excited to see how they continue to play this as we jump on board with Eternal.
And looking at the different compositions that we've been able to witness, the Crypto really coming out from the EMEA region, and you can see exactly why. It contests the domes that we've been seeing in the last circle, just kind of deleting them from the board. And then since we've been seeing a lot of Loba from the EMEA region, that's something else. We saw at the very end of game 1, the black market that was supposed to be used as some extra cover just completely got deleted alongside the dome with the EMP. And aside from that, Fala, you also are able to get these beacons without having to overcommit, without using the dome either, because you could just have the drone do the dirty work for you.
Yeah, that's right. That's the benefit of Crypto. And that's why you see almost every single team play at least one Recon Legend. Obviously, we have our main kind of classes of Legends in Apex. Y'all are probably well aware. The Recon Legends all have the ability to do exactly this. Valkyrie, Crypto, Bloodhound, and the like. They can scan beacons. They can get that intel, so incredibly important. So almost every team will kind of rock that Recon Legend. Meanwhile, in competitive Apex, you kind of split things off into roles, right? You have a flex player. You have a rotator legend. You have a support or utility legend. And you see that happen fairly often. Of course, you see Loba being more of that flex player or rotator legend. As we jump on board of the Uo Catboys, looks like they find themselves in the fight.
Yeah, ooh, Catboys haven't been doing so hot, but they are going to find themselves winning this fight, getting some KP. I like what I'm seeing here, but we noted that there was another squad that had gone over to the side where the beacon is, and it's actually going to be the third party rolling in. They need to get this res, and they need to do it quickly.
Oh my goodness, that is an interesting turn of events here as IG is out, and here comes another fight. It's Kick. Kick's gonna put in work at the 8-8, connects for a few shots, but misses a couple. Is Uxako, not gonna matter. His teammates will be there to clean up, and just like that, Kick is gonna come out on top in that fight. We have 2 squads out already.
Actually unbelievable with the way that Kate just timed that perfectly, but even better, they were able to win out this fight, and we could see that, ooh, Catboys, they put on a pretty good fight. They did a good amount of damage, but they weren't able to fully sustain themselves after the initial fight. That Kick had come into third party, and they have a Vault Key on top of that, so they're going to be nicely looted moving forward.
Yeah, it's a great situation here for Kick as a result. Take a look at their loot. And of course, kill points are ready, racked up, and they are in zone. So across the board, a good situation for Kick, who does drop big mod. Nice job from them being kind of the kings of that hill, at least for starters. Meanwhile, unfortunate for Invictus, they're not able to have the same level of success.
Actually crazy how Invictus unfortunately got called out like that, but either way, even if they would have won that fight, they were still down both members. You would have still had the other squad rolling in at the perfect time. Meanwhile, GMT Esports are not wasting any time, not only holding this position, which is an amazing position to hold, but they're running the Caustic and Crypto. So they're going to have awareness of what squads are within the area, as well as holding onto this building with the Caustic barrels.
Yeah, meanwhile, we mentioned probably an early rotation is going to come out of Alliance, and it does. They just ride the southernmost edge of the map, quite literally on World's Edge right now is Vifes on that rotation. And they're going to be content holding the south side, which basically means they're playing the dead side. And for those that don't know, dead side of the ring means you're going to run and rotate alongside the ring that likely is not going to have any other teams rotating from behind you. So the northernmost part, the southernmost part, western, eastern, etc. Teams like Alliance like to play that dead side and like to just know that they're not going to have anyone that can really just third party them from behind.
It's nice to note here that they are aware of the squad that is bunkering down right ahead. It's going to be that Crypto squad that we were just watching. And I like this position too, because this is where we've seen some circles pull at times, and they're holding that back end, getting the crack with the charge rifle. And I know we were talking about it earlier, actually. I had talked to you earlier, Follow, about what's in the replicator, and it's actually the purple sniper stock and the purple sniper mag at the moment before it swaps over. So that's going to allow a lot of these squads to run those longbows as they want, or the charge rifle, whatever they prefer.
So expect folks to continue to craft, especially folks that like to play Edge, like to take their time in rotations. They're going to craft up, get as much loot and materials as necessary going into late game. A team like Uprising, for example, currently playing on Fragment East, and I'm not sure exactly where they dropped. I think on the northern side of the map near Survey Camp is their drop spot, hence why they're still just kind of taking their time, especially in a zone like this. Happy to play Edge, happy to play slow as we jump on board of the Rascals.
Oh, but New, they're down a member. They're down their Crypto. Let's see if they can recover that banner. Oh, that's so risky, but what better way to do it than your Wraith, who has the Q? If they could Q out, oh, the windup is going to still allow Tyler to get away, but that was so risky, and you can see that they're completely out of there. They don't even want to contest, seeing that there may be 2 squads within the area of Lava Siphon.
Yeah, that's the Wraith effect, right? You could play a little risky, have that get out of jail free card with Wraith's Q, and nice job recovering that beacon. We'll be able to hopefully get a respawn. Obviously, they lost their Crypto, though, so they're not going to be able to get that mobile respawn. Maybe a little bit more difficult for them to be able to commit to it, but it looks like they're sticking it. Nice job from New. They survive for now, but barely to the hands of Gambit.
Imagine the chaos if there was a beacon in that middle building like there usually is in Lava Siphon. I would expect way more teams to rotate towards that area to contest, but that isn't the case in this situation. Lecite Fonts, the squad that had gotten second after that first game, they're over here at Fragment. They are still looting up at the same time, but looking pretty nice with Lagger holding onto that gold helmet. That's going to really come in handy for the Gibby.
Yeah, that's right. LCDF, meanwhile, back with New. Looks like they're going to respawn in, so I'd be interested to hear the comms of New Esports as they did get the respawn on Kashera. How are they going to decide to play this now? Let's listen in.
Right there. Flatline missiles.
Yeah, there's no one here. There's no one here. We're fine.
Got it. Wait, we have a Vault Key here too.
Yeah, I don't think we go Vault then. Any shields? No.
No, I can give... Cells here, Kosh. Oh wait, I'm giving you one of these posts. I'm putting one on too.
I can take it. Can you open my door?
Yeah. Cells here. There's a cargo bot coming straight towards us too, east.
One team close.
Okay. I'm gonna get ready to shoot a cargo bot.
Got it. What is the team? Is this free?
Golden helmet.
It is. We move in front. We move in front. We move in front. We take the cargo and we move in front.
Yes, one of you guys pick up the gold helmet.
Barrel stabilizer here. Level 1. Vault key here.
I don't climb up.
Oh shit. Thought you were going to climb.
Yeah, I tried.
We got this, boys. We're gonna win this game. Okay? Trust.
Behind us on bridge here. Ping.
Careful, let's go to the top. Cash.
They might push us. Can we go towards the dome? Walk up.
I just pinged us.
Close to me, close to me, close to me.
You need to watch
Oh, the
out.
door is closed. Don't go back, go back.
I'm fucking dead.
Crack them. Kill.
We need to stay inside. We need to stay inside. Or we die.
I'm going inside to the top. I got the Phoenix, Cash.
I need to put some ranges.
On roof.
Come here.
I'm dropping the
cannot go there.
medkit. I dropped the medkit.
If I go there, I die to Gambit. They are watching. Holy fuck, Mark. Let's go top. They don't see us.
And look who it is right in front of New Esports. It's LCDF, Vicky. What a listening.
Yeah, let's see the fronts wasting no time getting into that position, playing aggressive, but look at this, Uprising down, only one member, it's Shadow. Let's see if he can get the Gibby back up here, but the opposing squad has a crypto. They're noting the situation, Uprising needs to stay in this fight, because right now the circle's gonna be closing in soon, and you're just bordering that line.
Yeah, this is Alliance's favorite type of fight to take, right? It's an edge fight, and it's a team in Uprising who must have rotated via Valk ult all the way from the fragment choke to the southernmost part of the map. They try to drop near Alliance, and Alliance says, nuh-uh, we know this is a clean 3v3. We're going to take that, and this is the Alliance we are used to seeing. Strong start from them.
Absolutely, they got so much KP after that fight, and they're gonna also hold this bottom circle position. They want to play this safely. We noted already before that there was potentially another squad off to their left that was bunkering down, had no issue maintaining that position for this circle, especially seeing that Alliance, they may not know where that next circle is pulling. We do here, Fallout, and we can see that it's gonna be pulling in the direction of Dome.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity for Alliance. Not only do they rotate and find themselves 3 KP, but they find themselves in God Spot. We know they love taking God Spot, kind of making that decision on Zone 3 where they want to rotate. And here we are, as a result of Zone 3, Alliance in one of the best positions to potentially win this game. But of course, we still have 16 other squads remaining. We know that GMT is nearby with an early rotate and fairly decent positioning. GMT, though, needs to be careful because quite a few teams are going to be rotating exactly where they are over towards launch site. So we'll see how GMT plays it as we jump aboard Dead Inside.
Oh, Dead Inside actually fighting right next to Alliance, and this is going to be the fight happening in Dome, so they're making a lot of noise to note that, and Dead Inside want to try to keep the skirmish. The Dome has already been out, it's closing the space, but Dead Inside are getting taken out. They're taking too much pressure, rather, and they're forced to funnel away from the building.
Yeah, that's right. Good little poke with the Havoc to kind of keep the opponents at bay for now. It's clean, and guess what? Third team to the party, it's Zeta. Prediction from Onset to win today, and Zeta looks to come and join the party. Nice job from them. They connect for some good damage on clean, but they're not liking what they're seeing. They're actually going to slow things down a little bit and back out. I would have liked to see Zeta commit a little bit more to that fight. I'm not sure if they had the intel that we had that both teams were weak.
They see the caustic barrels in the window and they're like, all right, we want no business with this. They don't want to overextend in this situation. But you know what? Clean are able to get Dolphin right back into this fight. They're going to be able to get the res. Hopefully they could heal up a little bit. But talk about some pressure. Zeta Division are under some fire off to the right.
Yeah, Zeta, the CIS team, going to back out. They don't like this fight. They don't like the fact that there's so many teams nearby, so much risk for third party, so probably wisely so. They decided to reset one of our few Loba teams today, try and put some poke and pressure on a Valkyrie late ultimate. Not sure which team that is necessarily, but the black market going to try and get them some resources as well. Meanwhile, we'll jump aboard with Alliance. It looks like another team is dropping right on them.
Oh, this is so risky here because you're now in the line of sight of Alliance. You know that there's a squad right underneath you. You're prone to getting third party, and Zeta Division have their hands busy right now. The bombardment has been called out, and they are not only out of that sight here, or rather that distance of the bombardment, but they do know that there is a squad that may be potentially holding that low ground next to the vault.
Yeah, so in the grand scheme of this game, here's what we have so far. We have mini battles in this overall war. The battle for Dome, as we see right now with Alliance and 3-4 other teams, Zeta, Clean, and the like. We do know that we have Gambit and GMT over towards launch site. They're going to have to rotate here, especially if this zone continues to pull southeast. And brilliant on cue shot to our production team. They're going to check on in with GMT. And yeah, almost exactly where we thought they were, over towards launch site. We know Gambit is nearby as well, Vicky.
What I like about GMT is that they're sticking to this game plan. They are also adding in some pokes because they're building up their Evo shield, and they want to play for this end circle, so they want to hold this position until they see where it's going to get pulled to next. Now, the Defense, a little bit of a different approach, rather not holding one building, but playing extremely aggressive. As you can see, their composition doesn't have that Caustic that they're running in. They have the Valkyrie. You can see right now, Lero Benu, who is moving forward to try to see if anybody is around, and he actually does see somebody, maybe a straggler holding off to the left angle.
Yeah, that's right. So Dome's going to continue to be held by Alliance. We got launch site in the distance where we saw those 3-4 teams, Zeta and others. We got GMT over towards Lava Siphon. It looks like Clean's going to find themselves in a fight against Kick. Revive's going to come through, but they got to be careful now because we know the risk for third party is here in this late game. So many squads still remaining here as round 3 is closing.
This position right now is a little scary for Kick. They're stuck between 2 squads, and they're forced to hug this rock while the circle moves in. It's barely right there, but moving out of the circle, Renegade, Gibby coming in. They're desperately trying to fight for this position, but there's another squad that's able to put in some pressure from afar, and it's Navi who's still coming on top, not noticing that there's a squad holding the building.
But this is exactly what we noted, right? Third party central in this late game. It is literally third partyception as we just see team upon team upon team clean up over here, as it's been such a heavy pull to the south side of the map. Jumping on board with Claudio and Fanboys here. Andy Jax looking to connect with the longbow. Going to switch on over to the AVA 8. They hear the fight right on the other side of Dome. They want to join the action.
Oh, it seems like right now the squad that was holding the building don't want to overextend. I like this decision. It's going to be Clean who are able to put on this pressure. They have the 30-30 repeater looking at Dolphin, and they are running that Caustic composition, so that's why they don't want to overextend. They want to keep holding this building.
So we'll see the Dome finish here. Oh, and just like that, another team's going to go. Underrated. Last alive is Jazz. Here are the teams remaining. We still got a $30 chance from last game. We still got Gambit, GMT, Alliance. So many top teams still alive in this one. And as I say that, Underrated is going to fall. The kill feed gets lit up as Rascals are the ones delivering the damage.
Over now, you can see GMT. They're the ones that are cleaning up. They're the ones that are holding this high ground in here, and they're also going to have a lot of line of sight of a lot of these squads that are forced to rotate from right underneath them. But most of these squads have already made their way over to the Dome.
Yeah, that's right. That's what happens when you rotate early. That's why Alliance, great early rotation, certainly helped them. GMT, I think, was hoping for a more northern pull, but was chatting with Chef Pontus, as mentioned earlier, and he said a lot of the Zone 3, Zone 4 pulls have been a little bit random as of late. We haven't really been able to predict them, and I think this is another case. So GMT, with a Caustic, with the Crypto, not the ideal comp for a rotation. They're going to have to rotate with a pretty max pull for them. It's going to be a tough rotate for GMT. We'd love to jump into a listen-in with GMT if we have it by any chance over the next few seconds here. But for now, we'll keep a close eye, take an aerial view here of the Dome in our finish.
Right now, we're just looking at Alliance. We're looking at their positioning right by the other side of the Dome. I actually want to take a listen to Alliance's game plan here and noting that there's a lot of these fights happening.
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump into a listen-in with GMT.
Go left, though. I'm go right. He's still running. Shoot that raid. No, I'm fucking.
I have to bat.
Can you rest fast?
No. Yeah.
I'm resting.
So no, go. Just stay alive, though.
Okay, let
just
me
stay
kill
alive. Just stay alive. Just stay alive, though.
I'm gonna get KP. Never mind.
He died.
One lock. Kill the guy. Knock the zone, maybe.
They 2 died.
They all died. They all died. That team all died. The team behind us, though.
I'm fine right here. Just give me comms. I might be able to 3P.
Yeah. Der Valgolding.
Yeah, that.
Something got knocked.
There's a team over there.
And we said it. It's going to be a tough rotate for GMT, and it comes to fruition here. They get taken out on the rotate all to Dell, but meanwhile, Rascals on the third party themselves. They're going to take out Zeta. That is big from the Rascals. We got Alliance still alive. 7 squads remain, Vicky.
Look at the way that Rascal's positioned right now with the chaos happening on the other side of these walls. You're just hugging these rocks in hopes that you are not in anyone's line of sight. You are not prone to getting sandwiched here. And Rascals also have that bit of a high ground over the squad. They notice it's a duo, and they're right there. They're winding up around the rock, and they do manage to get a knock.
Great flank, great awareness from the Rascals. Recognizing we have a 3v2, we have a numbers advantage. Meanwhile, Alliance Vice is going to take a Vic with the sniper long range. And we have 6 squads remaining, just down to 6.
Gambit Esports still in this. So is Alliance, who's been able to have this pop-off game. Look at this already. Vivs has 4 KP and the triple take in his hands. He's got the bombardment ready. Right now, Alliance are sitting happily in this corner. They don't want to move, but they're going to have to eventually because the circle is going to be closing in less than 5 seconds.
And welcome back to Wraith. Hockey's one of the best Wraith players in all of Apex Legends, and it's showing. He is the kill leader with 4. Alliance back on the comp that works for them. Let's jump into a listen in and see how they play this late game.
Q, I don't know Q. I'm waiting for Q. I'm waiting for Q.
We have time.
I'm just running. I'm just running.
I'm watching you. I'm watching you, ALGS, don't worry.
Take it. I'm time.
Taking it.
Play the
Watch
roof the
here. Windows, KLOS here, KLOS.
Teammate. They might take time.
Gangles.
Yeah. Just play on me.
Yeah,
Right side. We can shoot him. Crack. I got bat. There's one guy on the other side though. There's one team on the other side here. Roof. Look, roof.
Yeah. I am. Watch the wide peak outside.
Yeah.
I say my ulti.
They're on the corner. I'm getting fucked.
Shooting
I got a bat.
Yeah.
I'm dropping down here. I'm playing low ground.
Yeah. I need to do the same. Doming.
They're getting angles.
Roof. Pushing roof maybe?
No, just heal. Dude, heal. They're sanding this, I think.
Yeah.
Safe on me for now, but yeah. Stabilize.
You're shooting our legs.
Yeah, they are. Block me.
I'm down. I'm trying to block for you.
I'm stuck. I'm just dead.
And Alliance, unfortunately, gets sandwiched right there. They get taken out, so down to 4 squads left. And guess who's still alive? We haven't keeping a close eye on them so far in this game, but it's Gambit, who did have to make a pretty far rotation. They find themselves in a great position.
And clean too, playing this as cleanly as possible. But Gambit Esports, as we were just talking about, Mir, maybe in a bit of trouble. They have the redeploy, but they just want to hold on to it. You saw what happened to Alliance. They were essentially sandwiched by 3 different squads. But look at this position that they're holding right now, Fallout.
Yeah, good positioning, but take a look at the top left of your screen. This zone is going to pull right into the lava in the center of Dome. This is a brutal pull to finish this game. So honestly, no team has a clear advantage. This is anyone's game between Rascals, Clean, Gambit, and Dead inside. And I got to say, it's going to be a fun one to finish, Vicky.
Yeah, I love this right now. I love the way that they're also playing this. They know that a lot of these squads are going to have to funnel out of this room, but the Wraith, the portals are going to be so clean in terms of this rotation, because as you know, you see where the circle's going to be pulling towards the lava. So this is going to be so chaotic once Gambit Esports moves away from those crates.
The calm before the storm. It's Gambit, with this aerial view, find themselves damaged. Defensive bombardment going to come. That's going to rain a little dangerous here for Gambit, but that defensive bombardment's not really going to have a whole lot of effect. I think that was more defensive, quite literally, from Artigo. Actually, no, he still has this. That was not Gambit. Meanwhile, Dead Side, they decide to push a team here. 3v3 fight. Good shots being put in. Connects for a few. Can he get the knock? Yes, he does. Dead Inside, all up to Stanley last alive.
Oh, but utilizing the knockdown shields for some makeshift cover, he's going to be able to hold the high ground, but they were waiting for this opportunity for this fight to happen. And now look at Stanley, he's forced to be on top of the crate. He's in everybody's line of sight and in the Nox gas. Gambit Esports capitalizing off of that.
And guess who's still alive? It's Gambit, who cleans up the rest of the lobby. Played to perfection from Gambit in the 4-way standoff, the 4-way brawl. It's Gambit who comes out on top. Congratulations to them.
They played that so well. They weren't the first ones to engage in that moment. They knew exactly that they needed to go to the safety of Pride Rock, the island that was in the middle of the lava. Gambit Esports managing to also clean up, secure some extra KP before winning the game and winning an additional 12 points.
Yeah, so well played from Gambit right there. And again, we didn't have a chance to see their entire journey, but we did have kind of an understanding of where they came from, right? They dropped Lava Siphon, so it was a very, very good ring for them. They capitalized with 6 kills, first place finish. That's 18 points for Gambit. Clean right behind them with 14. Dead Inside with 11. Rascals with 13, but look at Alliance fragging out with 8 kills in a 12-point game. Across the board, solid game for our top teams, our Titans in the ALGS Pro League. It's GMT, Alliance, Gambit, who are the 3 that you'd expect to perform, but they did it alongside Clean, Dead Inside, and Rascals. Good showing from all of our top 6 teams here.
Yeah, really liking the way that Alliance is starting to turn things up a bit to match that next to teams like GMT Esports, Gambit Esports, and I feel like after that game 2 Fallout, we're going to see a lot more aggressive play from our teams from the EMEA region, because again, this is week number 3. We're having a lot of these teams figure out what they feel most comfortable with when it comes to the compositions, and that's why you're seeing the Wraiths come back. You're seeing a lot of these teams fall back to where they saw success at first.
Yeah, that's right. As we take a look at Gambit here, again, just to kind of speak to their story, the way Gambit likes to play South Zones, very similar to how they played it in Survey Camp before the World's Edge changes. If it's a South Zone, they like to stay put. They don't like to early rotate. They don't like to go play edge of the map. They like to stay in that either, it used to be Survey Camp, now it's Lava Siphon, which is what they did. They stayed near Lava Siphon, and then they had a really difficult rotation to get down to Zone. We didn't see how they rotated, but the fact that they were able to do it was pretty darn impressive. Something tells me a Valkyrie ult may have made the impact there, and that was the difference, obviously, in GMT. They didn't have a Valkyrie to make that rotate, and you saw how difficult it was for GMT. Not the same story for Gambit.
And I feel like that's that quick adaptation that we're seeing from Gambit. They were popping off in game number 1, and they had probably some of the best positioning in terms of the high ground, overlooking where the circle was going to get pulled, and they made sure to clean up any of those rotations going into game 2, and that's why their timing for these fights has set them up in first place with a total of 26 points.
That's insane. This is the leaderboard you love to see after a game 2, Vicky. Look how evenly matched it is, all the way down to 11th place with double digits here. 9 points right after that. So honestly, any team between 1st and 13th can be your leading team after game 3. I mean, if Zeta Division pops off like we know they can easily drop a 25-point game and put themselves in a 37, 38-point range. This is an insane, evenly matched lobby so far, Vicky.
And it's been flying by too, Follow. We're going on to game number 3, looking at where our teams are currently situated. I think what you're saying perfectly highlights the intensity of these teams. Seeing how close they are in terms of points, it takes that one really good game from our first place team to our 13th place team to be able to take the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, well, Group A versus Group C of the Pro League in EMEA certainly has not disappointed so far. This is one I had circled on my calendar that I was looking forward to, just given how evenly matched these teams are. It's been fun to watch so far, but we're going to jump to a very quick break. When we come back, we got Onset, we got Gaskin, or should I say El Diablo and El Gran Onseto after this.
Monster Energy, the official energy drink of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Welcome back once again, everybody, to the EMEA Pro League here for the Apex Legends Global Series. It is, of course, me, El Gran Onseto, and Dan Ablo to take you through game number 3. But game number 2, let's take a quick look back, Dan, because Gambit Esports performing. That's what I want to see. That's what I called them out for in that at the start of the show, to be honest with you. But we need to see the consistency. One win will not get the job done today.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, it's all well and good getting that victory, but how many times have we seen teams in these first couple of weeks get that victory, get a second place or a third, and we're like, oh, okay, they're back, and then suddenly they drop off for the next 3 or 4 games, and then they will very quickly fall down that leaderboard, because even just, you know, consistently placing top 5 across 6 games is going to be better than just that one victory. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens in the next one, but certainly game 2 had plenty to talk about. There was a couple of questionable pushes from me, a couple of difficult 3v3 engagements, but ultimately, I think just one for the Apex fans. I think we all enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a scrap, to be honest with you, and I felt like that in the first 2 games. It's been a little bit scrappy. There hasn't been that kind of consistency in that zone 3, zone 4 that we're used to. A few more early engagements, but in that end zone, I really feel like it was experience, Dan, that gave Gambit the win. The way they managed to zone off the teams to their left was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I felt a little bit hard. Like, I felt like some of the teams I felt hard done by, because they were in a position where they probably thought they were in a spot where they could have potentially won the game. And if ultimates had come down a little bit earlier, but they were kind of trying to hold them, they were trying to stay alive, they were trying to maybe just not go for the kind of Hail Mary play, as it were. Instead, they were trying to keep some of their utility back, but Gambit, they played it perfectly, as you say. They were kind of zoning those teams out. They used their ultimates when they needed to. They got the damage when they needed to as well, griefing other teams, and all in all, they deserved their victory.
Good performance from Alliance as well. We saw in some of the highlights there, the shots that will be being hit, I should say, with the triple take, but KP had a decent placement, good for Alliance. And now I keep harping on about this word, right? But one game isn't enough at the moment in these games. You need to put 2 or 3 at least together inside that top 5 of KP. Alliance have got 1 on the board now. Previous game, placement was okay, but I just need to see them. And I think they need it for themselves. I said this last week. They need that big game where all of a sudden they're like, okay, we're back. This is the Alliance we love and know.
It's the same for Na'Vi as well. Both Alliance and Na'Vi, when you look across their results from weeks 1, 2, and now we get into 3, they got that one game where they get 2nd, 1st, 3rd, but then there's so many where they finish like 18th, 19th, 20th, and that can't be happening. You need to find consistency, even if it's just ensuring you get into the top 10, and we'll see whether it happens here in game number 3.
Well, we're live in game number 3. We're almost halfway through already today's action. Like Vicky was saying, we seem to just be flying through these games, and that means that they're high octane, they're high intensity, and they're certainly full of action. But now it's time for teams to show no fear. Cero miedo is what they need to throw our way, because these games are running out fast, Dan, and I say that because that's kind of what's happening at the moment. Pro League weeks are running out, games are running out, and every game that goes by, the next one becomes even more important.
Yeah, and I think with the amount of Valkyries that we're witnessing kind of dive into zone, whether it be kind of early late game or late game, it's making it very difficult for those teams who are trying to play central zone and trying to find that consistency. The ideal god spots, as it were, that I say with air quotes, aren't necessarily the god spots they once were, because sometimes it puts a big target on your back. Those areas are going to be where teams are going to be diving on with the Valk. But we do get a look at the zone. It is going to be pulling down towards Lava Siphon. It is going to be, again, another southern circle, which is going to be fantastic for those who are dropping down towards Dome, down towards Geyser, etc. So there is going to be a really good chance for some quick early rotations.
Yeah, one thing that's notable as well, at the start of this Pro League, GMT changed their drop spot. They obviously were known for dropping over at Frag East, but with the beacon becoming available at Harvester, they decided that's a more central location for them. They can get the quickest rotations to the majority of zones. That little change as well, with the amount of southern zones we're seeing, Dan, is definitely something that's being good news for them, shall we say, because once again, we're going down to the south side of World's Edge, and to be honest with you, we're seeing enough of the south side of World's Edge. I want to see some more northern zones, Dan. I'm hungry for it.
Yeah, a little bit hungry for some northern circles. It just doesn't seem to be transitioning that way at all, and I wonder whether people will start to move that way. But you know, everyone's going to think, well, surely it has to start pulling north. If we change our drop spot, then it's not going to work out for us. Then things will just go south, but not literally, you know what I mean. Anyway, I saw that Geyser was free. Actually, no one dropping Geyser. Doesn't seem like people think it's that good a POI when it comes to loot, and I agree. I don't think it's particularly great, but in a lobby like this where everyone has managed to distribute the POIs successfully, then I guess it doesn't really matter if one is being slightly missed.
Yeah, I think Geyser is one of those POIs as well. Probably one of the most difficult to rotate out of due to those chokes. So it can be somewhat of a problem, especially with teams rotating quickly from the likes of Fragment East, etc. If you take a few too many seconds, you can find yourselves getting shot in the back. But Gambit, they're on their loot path at the moment as we have a minute or so left on this zone before they decide to make their move. But I don't think it's going to be too much of a move. As we know, it's landing over, the circle, I should say, is moving over towards Lava Siphon themselves. Usually ends up on the southern side of it, though. Very rare we'll see it pull towards the buildings itself. So I imagine Gambit are going to get a little bit of loot on board, see what they can find, and then make their way down to the southern side.
Yeah, they'll probably start to transition once they feel comfortable. And to be honest, at Purple Armors, they're probably feeling pretty good right now. It's just ensuring that weapons are going to be good enough. As for GMT, they're already starting to look to try and transition as well. And it is going to be just Crypto scouting out another team, and there's already an engagement.
Oh, but you saw the damage coming in, and now Na'Vi, who have just arrived from the skies, might be interested in being a third party. However, the shots taken by Kuya might change that decision ever so slightly. These two snake buildings, very, very good to hold for the majority of the game. Both these players will be set up, both these teams, I should say, will be set up for the long game here, especially with Badoli on Caustic. You can see the plan here in front of your eyes from GMT.
But again, that brings me back to the same point. These are target buildings for those Valkyrie teams, because not only do you want to take those kind of buildings off of other teams, but when you're dropping and when you're panicking and you can't really see many spots to be going for, those buildings do provide cover from a lot of other areas. So you kind of go for that 50-50 where you land on the outside of the building, then you go, oh, okay, there's a team inside here. Do we fight? Sometimes you're forced to fight. It can be a little bit of a sticky situation. So you have to have a team and a legend composition that allows you to hold. So as you say, Caustic going to be very important.
Another team who's running Caustic here, and we mentioned earlier, Gibulus, which is always a little bit of an eyebrow raiser for me. Is going to be IG inside of this main building, inside of Lava Siphon, so they'll be safe for quite some time as well. Na'Vi as well. There's going to be constant poke damage here. The problem for Na'Vi is that the team who are across them, GMT, they do have the crypto, so they've always got the fear of the constant EMPs going down, and you can't really push it back due to that Caustic being in the building. So it's just going to be poke damage for Na'Vi.
Yeah, Na'Vi just really want to level up those shields at the moment, so that's why they're very aggressively looking for the poke damage, looking to try and at least get something, but it's whether there's going to be any show. And actually, looks like Na'Vi, they might fancy this one.
Maybe a kidnap. Who's going to be taken? Nobody by the looks of things. Luckily for GMT, they managed to scarper out the way at just the opportune moment. But I like this from Na'Vi. They're not happy at just letting people coexist. They want to be aggressive. They want to clear some ground, and it's kind of a riskless play, to be honest with you. Go for the kidnap. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, jump back through and say hello to your teammates.
Yeah, GMT are just going to have to constantly be watching their backs a little bit here, because that's not going to be the first kidnap attempt, I'm sure. There are going to be various attempts if they carry on to coexist, these two teams, because there's plenty of time for these circles to move in. But meanwhile, we'll look at how everyone else in the lobby is looking to try and transition their way over to the circle. Uprising, a team who did some serious damage in terms of third parties when we saw them in the first game. And at the moment, they're just scouting around and do seem to have a nice little transition into the circle. But it's going to be whether these buildings that they come up to have already taken residence. And that might make it a little bit awkward for them.
They're going to have some time to move. They're not going to be too concerned. There's a lot of playable areas as well around Lava Siphon. This is one of the better zones that we have on World's Edge, just because, as I say, playable areas means that everyone can rotate in comfortably. We're not going to have any kind of YOLO plays with the skyward dives coming in too much. It's going to be more the skyward dive to the perimeter of that circle and then working your way in. So not too much to worry about here for Uprising as we go back to Chapter 2 of the Na'Vi versus GMT battle. And Nesh has landed one shot, because you can see that Evo shield has leveled up, but plenty one fanboys. At the moment, not a fan of the EMP that's hitting them.
Yeah, so many EMPs, bombardments going off as well. Just plenty of ultimates to try and force this team either out or just trying to ensure that they can't push if there was any aggression. We joined the fight late, but it is Clean who are trying to do some damage here. Again, level up those Evo shields, assert your dominance, try and just push up on a team to stop them from being able to comfortably push up on you.
Good shots with the flatline coming in from Unlucky as well. And I think there's a couple of teams who are interested in putting pressure on this team that's just in front of Team Clean. But for now, they're going to back off. This is one of the better positions to hold as well. This hill house, if we do see that pulled down away from Lava Siphon, which I'm not putting out of, you know, predictions for the future with the way that these zones have been acted up a little bit recently, they will be in a extremely strong place. So for Cloudy1 fanboys, even though they have the upper floor of this building and the lower floor under their control, it's going to be pretty tough to hold.
When we do get a chance to see the map overhead as well, we can have a look at some of the areas that are better to play and where I might think the circle is going to go. But I think you're right, like, nothing is out of the realm of possibility with a lot of these circles, and I think that's something that we're learning as weeks go on. Everyone seems to be kind of knowing their comfortable zones and knowing their best prediction to try and get it, but even sometimes your gut feeling doesn't quite get it quite right. And even though 5 times out of 10, I'd say people are getting predictions spot on, there is just the outlier, isn't it, where it just pulls away. And there is the next zone, there is the next circle. And that team who is going to be down in the vault are going to be sitting pretty for quite some time. But there is a lot of open area there on set. That is not an enjoyable final circle. It is pulled away from all those buildings. When we were talking about there's loads of areas to be holding on to. Well, yeah, they'll be okay for now. But as that circle gets smaller, I think it's probably going to pull closer to that rock. And that is going to mean a lot of open territory and a lot of difficult rotations for teams.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty violent end circle, to be honest with you. If you're not running Jibby in your comp, then good luck to you, my friends, because you're going to need that bubble to survive that initial onslaught. The team that's in the choke might actually be in a pretty good place, and by the choke, I mean the vault tunnel between Lava City and Lava Siphon, as they'll be able to just hold that down, clear their backs, and then probably rotating quite late. But for Zeta Division, they're not too worried about their rotation at the moment. They're just making sure that they're looted up, and maybe with that zone information as well, it might be the best thing to do for a lot of these teams. Take your time, get on those crafters, make sure you've got the resources to fight, because there's one thing you can guarantee for the teams in this lobby: they will have to fight through numerous teams to succeed here.
Yeah, that's the key word, isn't it? Fight. It's all well and good us talking about positioning and the team in the vault, for example, saying that they're going to be sitting quite pretty. You're not always that pretty, because some people will try and take that territory off you, and you have to win the fight. If you don't win the fight, it's as simple as that. You're going to be out, you're going to lose position, or you're going to be forced back by a more aggressive and a more confident team. Sometimes you don't even lose the fight, you just lose the position because you are playing passive, you don't want to take the fight, you don't want to risk a third party, so instead then you get forced out of your hidey hole and usually forced into another team. So all these things you have to just take consideration of, you have to be careful of.
Yeah, I kind of liked the move that Zeta Division were making, rotating round down to the south side of this zone. I think that's going to be the area of most success for these teams, who won't have to fight their way through the numerous teams inside of Lava Siphon already. La Cité France, though, as you can see on our screen, coming under somewhat of a bit of fire from Uprising, who are playing across on that choke and just trying to clear their back at the moment to make sure they won't be caught off guard by a third party. But the barrel will be popped. That's just a defensive barrel for their opposition, so it's not going to do any damage, just showing a little bit of presence here.
It's often what it's about, just a little bit of presence, not necessarily to try and scare teams away, but just to stop teams from pushing you, or stop teams from thinking that they have the better of you as well. Certain a little bit of dominance here or there. But La Cité France, they're in one of these spots where, yeah, I was going to say, they're going to have to use a portal to get down just to ensure it's safe. Otherwise, you do leave yourself in a pretty vulnerable spot, all three of you traversing down the hill. And there will be the portal. That will be the building taken off of the one team. So one team was trying to hold several buildings. La Cité France were aware of that. They take one of the buildings off them, and they're going to be safe for now.
Well, let's jump into the comms with La Cité France. Let's see if they fancy this fight, or if they're just going to hold this building and try and play for that next zone.
Ils savent que je suis en bleu, faut que je charge un peu.
Il a cassé les couilles avec son drone. Hein. Il a mis son drone dessus.
J'ai 15 sels, hein, j'ai 15 sels. Hein.
J'en ai 8. Tranquille, je suis bien. Je peux en prendre un peu plus si tu veux, la gare. Si tu veux te décharger un peu.
Moi j'en ai 2, la gare.
Ouais.
Vas-y, monte.
Venez.
Faites gaffe au cul quand même. Hein.
Regarde le cul, prends la selle inside. J'ai le cul.
Ok.
Je regarde là, moi, je regarde le choc. Hein.
Il y a une équipe aussi au niveau de l'autre maison, en bordure de montagne, juste là.
Ok.
Il y a une équipe là, une équipe là.
Une équipe à droite, et une équipe à droite. En haut à droite.
Le TP dépop au moins.
Ici là.
Une équipe choke. Ok, d'accord.
TP à dépop.
Personne à droite, hein, personne là.
Non. Ouais, il est au choke, mais il me voit pas, non, il est au choke.
Y'a personne. Attends.
Ok.
On peut te extend sur moi là? Ouais.
J'extend moi là-bas.
Ouais. Extend aussi.
Il y a une équipe au choke en bas là.
101 ici. Elle est en purple. Hein.
Ok, laisse-moi réfléchir. Je rentre inside.
Oh la maison, m'excite la maison là.
Ah, mais le problème, c'est qu'elle est prise.
C'est pas qu'on a joué ici déjà? Ou c'est dangereux?
Le trait. Hop.
Son. Son.
Je tiens ton cul.
Maison, ils sont plus là, je crois. Ou ils font zéro bruit.
Ils ont un caustique. Ils étaient en blanc.
S'il te plaît, bon. Faisons.
Some really good points there, Dan. I know you're fluent in French. Do you want to just kind of translate that for us?
I will, but I'll translate it in interpretive dance. So here you go.
Dan doesn't speak French. I don't speak French, but it's always good to hear the French boys and their comms and what they want to try and do. And I'm sure that the French fans who are watching right now appreciated that listen in. But GMT in the feed, you can see that Dell has managed to knock down one of the Na'Vi boys. Kuya's going to fall. Post-kill also in the feed as well. As Kick Esports now try and creep their way forward. Some shots going to come in from the charge rifle. Only 7 damage going to be dealt by it. As we swap over now to that L-Star. And all of a sudden, this is looking a bit tough, this move in. Through this choke for Kick Esports. The bubble already been used. And here comes an EMP as well. This is looking like a really tough move.
Yeah, this isn't going to be particularly easy, but at least they've got one player on the other side of it, so they can go for a little bit of a pinch. You've just got to ensure that you don't give up your spot too soon. That's not going to be particularly good either, because now you're going to get shot from the other side. Speaking of getting pinched, they did get pinched whilst trying to do the pinching. Too many pinches going on right now.
Yes, it's looking really horrible now for Kick. Xako is still alive and still has full shield. Tiaka, 1 bullet and he's dead, and if not dead himself, he'll be dead to the zone. And it looks like he'll just be waiting for his teammate maybe to get back into a position to give him a res in a safer position, or get the banners, because now he has been finished off. So Kick just forcing their way through that choke. It goes one of 2 ways. You win the fight, you move up. You lose the fight, you're out of the game. As Xaxo now has to try and loot, and I should say try and survive to get back to those loot boxes, pick up those banners and get back into the game. But Alliance now bang center zone here, Dan, using this rock cover and trying to force these teams inside of Lava Siphon to have a little fight with each other in third party.
And on the other side, you've then got Fenerbahce on the edge of the circle as well, also kind of just being pretty annoying to all the teams that are trying to get into the circle right now. But it looks like Alliance might have to fight for their spot pretty soon, and they are going to push up on this one. Here's an engagement.
Yeah, I like this. Hackers has got a knock, so now you're going to see Vipes moving in off of that communication. There's going to be a stick, and this is going to be about as clean a wipe as you could possibly want from Alliance. Just need to survive for now. They managed to get all 3 without taking much damage. Beautiful push from Alliance. That's the confidence we needed to see.
That was just a 1 flush, that one. No more was needed. Alliance now, though, might be under a little bit more pressure. So they do have the decision of, do we back off? We take that high ground we had before, use that natural cover that was helping us out. As Lecita France, again, they're looking to maybe try and make a move. These snake buildings, we said it was going to be a priority for a lot of these teams.
Well, now you're going to see them pushing into GMT, and GMT might need a GNT after this one to recover, because it is not looking good for them. They will be eliminated, and it's Lecita France with 4 kills to the name of Joke now, who made that tough move, that tough rotation, and now they have control of this building.
And we were saying the team playing in the Vault was probably going to be sitting pretty, sitting comfortable, and they might have thought so too, but that zone is pulled right back towards Lava Siphon. There is going to be buildings that are within it now, so it's not going to be as much open terrain in this next one. So certainly we're going to see teams try and make their way, try and take as much of the building that is possible to keep them safe, because usually, for the most part, surviving in a building is easier than surviving in open ground. But look at all the teams fighting whilst rotating here. It's so difficult.
Alpha Draft is going to be knocked as well. That's going to be Catboys. I can't get it out. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, I think that's pretty much perfect, to be honest with you. But they are going to get that knock, and now they're going to be looking to finish off the final 2 players. The bridge might be a pretty good place to play, but I'm pretty sure there'll be some teams who have already got residents of it, or moved off, I should say, from their previous residences. VJX hit some good shots with the 301, can't quite convert it, and it looks like another ping's come, so they might be looking for KP here. It's going to be a tough move for them, but having those teams in front of them might give them the opportunity to pick up some points.
Ooh, well, Catboys, if you say like Borat,
there
it just works. It flows naturally. We'll get Kate to say it later, because she's dressed up as a cat as well. But they currently are in a good spot to do some damage, but it's not going to be a good spot in approximately 20 seconds when that circle moves in, because there is going to be so many teams looking from the inside out just being a real like thorn in the side to all of these teams that are trying to rotate in. Zeta Division are holding a spot in the low ground, which is going to be within the next circle. That might be a nice spot to play, but we'll have to see how many teams try and take it off them or are just kind of forced into that area.
Well, not for the first time today. Fenerbahce in a really, really good spot, but Zeta Division, this is looking tough for them at the moment. The Rampage is going to start singing a tune, and the tune is going to be a knock picked up there. So they will have a little bit of a chance maybe to reset. However, Taskmaster's going to have to do something magic, and he does it here. I mentioned this man's tracking an aim, and there is a great example of it. However, Taskmaster taken down, Sunset taken down. It falls down to 9 Impulse to clean up the damage, and it looks like Zeta Division will survive for now, at least, as Alliance now find themselves in a fight. And it looks like, once again, it's a fight they will win.
As expected, a lot of teams just forced into those who had already taken the early residence of these low ground spots that weren't necessarily safe. They weren't buildings, but they were areas where you can hide from the cover from the upper ground and you can wait for those teams to arrive late. But that was bloody nuts, what I just witnessed. And that is what you expect from teams of this caliber, teams who have been in the ALGS for quite some time. You know, they're winners. They are the teams that we've seen win games time and time again, and you need that clutch potential to do so. We'll have to see whether they can push on to maybe recover. You can see all three of them back up on Zeta now. But Zeta and Alliance, they're the outsiders, as it were. Everyone else has kind of found their way closer to the building. But those building players do have to move out. Look where their next circle's going.
Well, let's jump into a listen-in with Alliance now, as they've been fighting their way through half the lobby. I'm sure the comms are going to be cool and crisp, but the adrenaline's going to be high.
I'm walking up.
I have.
Walking up.
One on ground roof. Care that. I did 50 to the ground roof for you.
Oh, I got it. I'm shot back. My die. Fuck, I got to queue back. They're pushing. Look.
I'm looking.
Let's be aware. There's a... Yeah, I'm phoenixing.
They make a TP.
Close on me.
Be honest. What? Coming here. We're above you, Hackers, as well.
Yeah, we called it. I'm porting you. Keep porting you.
Yeah. He didn't see me.
Take it fast.
Take it
blind as fuck. Rush him. I've got back. You can rush through. We just walk up late. They're fighting. Walk with zone and fight left. Yeah, ulti that. I'm naming it. They're bubble zone. Bubble gun. Ulti boys. Ulti. Play slow. We can play right side and get angles.
We have so much time.
Yeah. Shoot them. Give me.
Knock one. I'm coming. Crack. Low.
Batting. One more.
Nice.
Walk up. Valko there. One fucked up. One is home.
Give me. Dumbing.
GB dead. Heal up.
Healing. We're going this late. We're going this after.
Yeah, I'm going up.
I'm nading it now. Going up.
Well, what a time to join Alliance, because they're wiping the lobby away here, Dan. Great shots from the triple take, but now it's not looking so comfortable for them. Alliance down to just one. Hackis will be eliminated, but some good KP picked up in this game.
Alliance are down, Zeta are down, Fenerbahce are losing players, Lassique de France lost a few, but Odin Gamers are watching all of this unfold, and they are shredding right now. They're picking up their KP, the kill leader is Vic, and it looks like if they can carry on playing this way, they can be serious contenders to win this game.
Going to push the bubble as well, just to try and finish off this team. They managed to do so. The armor swap will be there for Vic, and now they can turn their attentions away, but Gambit Esports trying to find their way up from the low ground, and it looks like they may have found somewhere to climb. Invictus Gaming, another team who are inside this top three. I mean, for Gambit, this is going to be a tough little move for them, but they found somewhere to play, and they might be sneaking behind Odin.
Yeah, they're going to be forced into Odin here, and this is perfect for Invictus. Invictus will very happily watch this unfold, hope that damage is done, hope to see a knock, and then they get involved. If they've saved their ultimates, this could be a victory for them as well, but it all comes down to who Gambit push, or whether Gambit just try and play this one, whether they try and force a fight, whether they try and push Odin into Invictus. It's all just ring around of roses at the moment.
Yeah, they've managed to force Odin away, so that's really, really big here for Gambit, and now it's just trigger discipline. Whoever hits the biggest damage here might think that it's time to go and might force a fight for the third-party opportunity. Shots coming in with the wingman from Hardeki. A couple of 45s going to dink away at that armor. They do have some shield swaps there, but they're not going to be able to use them because that zone is being forced in behind them. Invictus doing a little bit of damage, but so is Hardeki now. Invictus pick up one as well. Odin are the team who are being focused.
Yeah, Odin unfortunately get caught between the two. They're the meat of the sandwich, and now we're down to just two squads. Invictus versus Gambit, and it is a 3v3. Well, it was a 3v3. It's a 3v2 now.
Hardeki goes up against one, can't get the armor swap though. Invictus swooping in. It's Artico versus the world, and the world will win, and the world is called Invictus. They pick up the win here in game number 3.
And they're welcome that I didn't predict them this time, because that's what happens when I predict Invictus. They just don't succeed. But in this particular occasion, they played that final circle perfectly on set. They waited for Gambit to get involved, and then as soon as they saw Odin taking some damage, that's when they jumped in. They joined in, they got the wipe, and then they took the 3v3. And it was a 3v3 that turned very quickly into a 3v2, because I think they were able to 1-2-3 and take down a player whilst they were caught off guard.
Yeah, really impressive stuff. Once again, though, Gambit, I asked for consistency. First place and then second place. Very, very good from them. Only 2 kills, but 11 points on the board is very good for them. Odin Gamers, some decent KP, but IG, as you say, playing it perfectly, managed to get that vital pick in the 3v3. But good points on the board as well for Alliance, down there in 7th place in the placings, but 9 kills for them, Dan.
It's always a little bit more impressive as well, isn't it, when we consider the fact that there wasn't really a Gibraltar there wasn't the bubble potential for them. Instead, it was all about the Caustic and what damage that Caustic ultimate can do, and the survivability that the Caustic offers as well when you're holding buildings. But elsewhere, I mean, it was a pretty messy time when it pulled kind of towards the southeast, and then it came back up towards Lava Siphon. I think people were expecting it maybe to be closer towards that vault area, and then it wasn't. There was a lot of elevation you had to try and decide. You had to pick and choose. Do you go low? Do you go high? Gambit did extremely well to work their way back up to the high ground, but unfortunately wasn't enough to win the game. Invictus come out on top, and a serious amount of damage to go alongside it.
Can we appreciate how amazing Bryn's name is, by the way? Bryn, Crompton, Corbett, that C squared, T squared and C squared. I love that. That's an amazing name, Bryn. I'm just proud of that one. That's a good work from the parents. As we look at Noise's stats as well, decent damage across the board for all of them. Blast having a really, really good game. And it, like you said, Dan, perfectly, showing that you don't need Gibby to win games here in EMEA.
And I think this is a really big week for Invictus, and I know that I speak about Invictus a lot, but in general, they had such an amazing week 1, dropped off a little bit in week 2, but they're still very much at the top of the leaderboard, or at least close to the top of the leaderboard. With a performance like they had in week 1 here in week 3, they could be that #1 team, and that is where you want to reside at all times possible for obvious reasons, but also it just gives you so much confidence going into the remaining weeks.
Well, let's bring Kate back into the conversation, because Invictus looking really, really strong, Kate, and great to see them winning without a Gibby as well.
You literally took the words right out of my mouth. One of the main themes from games 1 through 3 has got to be that all over the place team comp. Let's talk about it and continue on set. It's so hard to say sometimes. Let's continue on with that discussion, because I think this is such a pivotal moment for us to be seeing a Caustic, a Crypto, and a Wraith Gibby-less team comps. Please expand on this a little bit for me, because this is going to be a major shift here for our EMEA region.
Well, I can only presume that you're talking to me. I don't know who this onset guy is. You know, I don't know who that is. But yeah, I think it's just a constant evolution, right? And we always talk about how EMEA seems to set a meta, and it seems to change the meta. It's willing to try things. And, you know, you mentioned to me 2 weeks ago that Gibby is gonna not be in some compositions. I would have said, no, offers too much. You cannot take Gibby out of a competitive Apex Legends lineup and have consistent success. But it's been proven that you can do it. Invictus kind of fell a little bit to the bad side of the composition in this first game. You can see here they actually got eliminated because they were left out in the open without that bubble to fall back on. But if you get an early spot, if you get somewhere to play and you have Crypto to EMP bubbles and cause carnage, you can pick up some really, really strong results. And again, I just love the forward thinking that we see from EMEA.
Absolutely. Dan Oblo, take us through what we're looking at here as we take a look through our game highlights.
Yeah, I think some of the highlights showed us like how difficult it can be when you don't have a Gibby. By the way, there were times where teams were kind of pushed back and they didn't have that bubble as that get out of jail free card that we see so often. But with so many Cryptos in the lobby, it does make sense, because that bubble, I think I mentioned it in game 1, it can sometimes be... It can go against you because you assume you're going to be comfortable, you assume you're going to be safe for a time period, you heal back up, but then the EMPs come through and you are left in absolute no man's land. You're usually in tatters, sometimes you don't expect it, and you're probably wiped because of that. So you avoid all of that by just not playing Gibby. And even though it might be harder in some situations, it certainly gives you a better idea of how you're going to approach the game without that kind of get out of jail free card that sometimes gets removed from you. Elsewhere, we saw some amazing individual ability throughout these games. In particular, Taskmaster had an absolute shred fest here in Game 3 that I hope was captured, because the man just doesn't miss on set.
Yeah, he's nuts. And to continue on to this like thought process about the Gibraltar and the crypto, Apex Legends is at its best balance-wise when there is a counter to every single thing. And what I mean by that is, how do you counter a Gibby bubble with a crypto ult? How do you counter zones that end up in an open field? You've got your Gibby dome, right? And if Legends can counter each other, if there is a play off of the back of it and you have an extensive Legend pool, that's when the game is at its healthiest. I'm excited for the changes that are going to be made that are coming up as well. Watson might come back into meta. We obviously have a new Legend entering the 4 as well. So I think that Apex Legends really is interesting, and I love how it's EMEA that's always pushing the envelope. But this high ground from IG towards the end, we saw Alliance go on a crazy tear towards this end game, and some of the triple take shots that were being hit were picking up so many KP, but at the end you can see just a little bit of a vantage point for IG that brought them home the win.
Absolutely. Well, hey, I want to real quick touch on one other thing that we definitely saw, and you all mentioned, which was the zone pull. South is very much in our wheelhouse. I'm curious, we know the hunger for a northern zone is great, and perhaps not just for us here on the talent squad, but also those squads that are in the lobbies, I assume. Do we expect to see any of those zones change at all? Do we expect to see people dropping changes in their drops at all? Dan, I'll start with you. Dan Ablo, pardon me.
As Dan Ablo, I am a fan of the Deep South. So I quite like all of these zones pulling south. But yeah, players, I mean, I said it to Onset, sorry, El Grande Onset. I said that I don't think people will change their drops, even though you kind of, your head is always going to put yourself there because you think, well, they are just, you know, it keeps pulling south. Maybe we should move south, but you will know so much more about rotations, where other teams are going, what kind of spots you can play, what loot you can get from where. Your loot trail is going to be natural to you as well. It really takes some time to just change a drop spot. So you will have to practice if you're going to do so, and I don't think teams are going to be doing it this late into ALGS. Instead, teams will know where they're going to land, they're going to be consistent with that, and they just hope that maybe northern zones will eventually arrive. We did have a brief look at the leaderboards there as well, you guys saw, and I tell you what, some teams are starting to pop off here, Kate.
Absolutely, and El Gran Onseto. I'm never gonna get it right.
That's
I'm never
the best
gonna get
bit
it right.
about it. That's exactly why I picked the name.
I'm just gonna change it every single time. Well, I will say that there is a healthy lead, and its name is Gambit, and I think that that is something that certainly will be making headlines here in our next 3 games to make up 6.
Oh, 100%. I asked for consistency from Gambit. They've given it to me today. Game 1. Decent game. Game 2, they obviously won, and then to come in second place in Game 3, playing from that low ground as well. Very, very impressive from Gambit. If they can keep that up, it's going to be great for them. Again, like Dan said, though, we've got to throw in the little sprinkle. There have been some good zones for Gambit. It's when the zone moves away that Gambit seem to struggle. So if we do go to the north of World's Edge, and just to remind everyone, there is another half of the map that maybe we will see in our next 3 games, then Gambit, that's when I've really got my eyes on them, because that's the unpredictability factor that comes in for me with that lineup.
Well, speaking of unpredictable, we are everywhere on social. Social is predictable. What we're going to say, who knows? Make sure to follow us on the socials at Play Apex Esports on Twitter, at Play Apex Esports on YouTube, and of course at Play Apex on Twitch. We are where you want to be. And of course, the drama and the action is only just beginning. We are knee deep. That was game number 3. But hey, don't even worry about it, because we got game number 4 right after this. Right here.
Lenovo Legion. Gaming PCs that are stylish on the outside and savage on the inside. Lenovo Legion is the official PC and monitor of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Welcome back, everybody, to the ALGS Pro League Special Halloween Edition Fallout here alongside Vicky, aka Hound Kitty, as we're getting ready for our next game here. It's game number 4, about to be live. Vicky, what are you enjoying so far?
I'm enjoying Invictus skyrocketing through the leaderboards. I like what I'm seeing from them. They had a rough start on week number 2 after popping off week number 1, and now they're taking game number 3 going in their favor. But I love the consistency that we are seeing from teams like Gambit Esports.
Yeah, that's right. Gambit, back-to-back wins, looking so strong. Now, here's what's interesting. They've gotten 2 zones that have kind of favored them, right? Southern zones near where they drop in Lava Siphon. So I'm excited to see how they will play when it's a north or different type of zone. We've seen two back-to-back similar zones here in games 2 and 3. So excited to see what's going to happen in game number 4. Meanwhile, Alliance is another big team we've been kind of following. This is a big week for them. They're really, really low in the standings overall. They haven't been very happy with their performance. They switched up. They put hockeys back on Wraith, but they've just been kind of middle of the pack. You know, 6th, 7th place, high kill games. Haven't been able to get that breakout first place finish yet. I'm excited to see how they rotate if this is a northern zone as well.
Yeah, if anything, this is the best that we have seen from Alliance thus far, and it's week number 3, so the points have already built up a gap in between what Alliance wants to look out for. Their placements have been pretty good, but let's talk about those last 2 games where they secured 8 kills in game number 2, 9 in this past game. They're looking fantastic. I'm excited to see where they're going to decide to rotate to for this next circle, because we've been only seeing these southern circles this whole time.
Yeah, you're right. So it'll be interesting. Obviously, they're going to take their time rotating for quite some time over in Thermal. Obviously, as they're rotating here, or as they're looting here, not a whole lot's going to be happening. So I'd love to kind of check in with some other teams, right? And of course, we're going to want to also see where the rest of the zone is going to be. Meanwhile, we do know that Invictus, they drop Lava Siphon with Gambit. So they actually do a split drop. Northern side of Lava Siphon, and then the no-name POI right above. That's where Bryn is. And are you kidding me? Another South Lava Siphon zone. This is insane.
The circle is spooked out by the northern side. It's too cold up there. They don't want any business with it. I mean, but can we talk about how often we are getting these circles and what it means for our squads who have hope that one day the circle may pull up towards the north?
Yeah, maybe, just maybe. Obviously, our game number 1, I think it was, the zone pulled a little bit northwest, but it was pretty central. And then we've had 3 back-to-back very, very similar zones here, and it'll be interesting. What I'm curious, though, is now that we've seen 3 in a row straight games, we've seen some teams do well, i.e. Gambit. We've seen some teams kind of struggle a little bit. GMT hasn't been able to make it. I'm interested to see how they actually change their play style, how they adapt. A team like Alliance, I think overall, are they going to rotate early? Obviously, they take their time looting, but what are they going to do here? Let's go ahead and jump into a listen with Alliance as they're going to be looting and as they're deciding the rotation.
Shotgun ammo here.
I'll take a purple armor.
Did you say there's an L-Star in Dome? Donut?
Yeah. On the bin outside.
Okay.
Close to you.
Got it.
Okay, what's the game plan?
Fucking lagging, man.
We're going outside. Crafting and scanning again.
Yeah.
Did
you say there's 2 blue bins back, sorry?
Yeah. In the bin towards the lava. Here.
Got one. I'm taking height for now. You loot. Craft.
It's ages to loot my route. Shit.
I'm watching. You guys are good. Completely clear.
There's 1 extra bat on the thing.
Is there
I
any
can craft.
assault rifle?
Oh, no craft.
No, I've only seen a sentinel. That's all I've seen. One extra bath here, purple bag as well.
No, purple bag.
Purple heavy mag.
Heavy mag here. Level 3.
Need a barrel, I've none.
Good thing mine.
Nice.
Huh?
Blue bolt here. 2x. Eva here.
Popping the vault key.
Oh, I've got enough stuff, bro. I could craft one more bat actually. Drop 2 cells for it.
We can craft launcher too, so don't worry about it. Like we can go there.
How many bats do you have? 5?
I have 6.
Blue helmet here, Yuki.
Copy that.
Some more sniper ammo.
Alliance, they're getting situated here. They got the EVA 8. You heard the comms. They wanted to go for the weapon loadout they feel most comfortable with. You got the longbow, the EVA 8, so you're going to have those beam image from afar. You're going to have the EVA 8 for those close quarter fights. And you can see right now, they're looking pretty nice on loot. The L-Star having a gold mag here in favor to Yuki, and they're also going to know there's a Valk squad actually redeploying right in front of them.
That's right. We'll see if they can get some good damage in on them. Looks like a little poke here and there, but that Valk squad, wise decision to get an early rotate. Meanwhile, we got to check in on some of our other teams. So Gambit, who's been playing this zone to perfection. How do they play it? Well, I mentioned after game 2, ever since the survey camp days, they just like to stay put. They don't really like to rotate too far from Lava Siphon, because that way, no matter where the zone pulls, they can react. If it pulls south, they can really rotate with that Valk ult. If it pulls north, well, they're well positioned in Lava Siphon exactly where they're at. So good decision from Gambit. We did see in the kill feed Underrated get taken out. And then we saw Nasky, GMT, and co. actually flank and pick up the scraps of those kills. So some early game fights that we caught over towards Harvester as we take a look at Eternal here on the rotation.
You know what also benefits Gambit in this situation, Violet, is that Gambit has been landing in Lava Siphon. They've always felt comfortable landing in this spot since sorting, even before it was even considered Lava Siphon. And Eternal, they're now rotating right through that area. They portal right inside. They want to play this safe. They noted that there was another squad off to their left, and they're perhaps trying to look for an opportunity. Oh, nice, a purple Evo shield.
Oh, yeah.
So another pretty nicely looted up, but they're also going to be able to get that beacon without overextending because they have the crypto composition like we've been seeing a lot of our other EMEA squads run.
Yeah, they're in a good spot right now. Great early rotation from Eternal. Like what I'm seeing from them. They drop Landslide. So that's a fairly easy rotation for them. They just go through the Landslide tunnel by the vault. They work their way through Harvester, try to avoid Nasky and the GMT squad on the way, and then find their way in Lava Siphon relatively early. Great rotation off the rip as we take a look at Les Cite France over in Fragment. In zone technically, but we saw that ring is going to be pulling south. So they got to make a rotation here momentarily.
Yeah, if Gambit Esports, they want to roll a dice, play the lottery or something, because right now these circles have been consistently pulling in their direction. So they have all the time to pre-plan ahead for that last-minute rotation. Les Cite France, they're coming out of Fragment. They look pretty nicely looted here, and they're just noting where they need to go before they make these last-minute rotations. They also have the redeploy if they find themselves on any sort of trouble.
Yep. Rascals working their way down south on the south side of the map here, over towards Tree. This is a pretty wide rotation. I think they just continued to kind of hug the far left side of the map or west side of the map as they work their way all the way from northwest. So wise decision, wise rotation for Rascals. Slowly just working their way all the way south. So they're likely going to run into a few teams here. They might see Alliance. They might see Fenerbahce, who originally dropped Tree, as they work their way over on the south side of the map. Meanwhile, Claudio and Fanboys find themselves in a mid-ring fight. They connect for the first kill.
Yeah, they get the KP. They are going to get the dirty too. So that's to note that there is probably one rat in this lobby. Clone Fanboys, they're going to be able to get this nice loot and make that rotation into the circle without having to really worry about the noise that they made since they are pretty deep in circle as of right now.
Yeah, and that's a expected fight. A little late, though, as Shex, and they like to drop Climatizer. And we know USG drops over in Survey Camp. So they've been dropping next to each other. And typically you'll see that. You saw that in the EMEA broadcast yesterday. Typically the 2 or 3 teams that drop in the north side of the map, like Climatizer, Epicenter, or Survey Camp, will kind of fight each other in their rotation. It turns into a little bit of a 50-50.
Rascals, the squad who showed up week number 1, they're going to be rotating right out of here. They're running the Crypto Gibby composition, but as we've noted just in the last game, IG taking that game without a Gibby. I love the way that this is going to mix things up for the meta going into EMEA, because I feel like, as just kind of echoing what El Gran Onceto and El Danablo have said, that this is kind of the region that starts off these compositions that kind of have put a bookmark onto what really works out here. And Clean, they're not wasting any time playing pretty patiently. They're just waiting to see if there's any other squads in this area before they decide on where they want to rotate.
Yep. And it's the benefit of crypto. You get that recon, you get that information that you need, and you also can do this. EMP potential, do some damage as we take a look at IG, who's really played that caustic and crypto meta to a T, which has risen to popularity over the last 6 months or so. IG, really the breakout team in the Pro League so far. I mean, this is a team that I've had my eye on for a long time, coached by the EMEF, in my opinion, one of the best coaches in ALGS. I know he's coached a few different teams, but he's back with Bryn. He was telling me Bryn is one of the most underrated or best slayers in the game. Noise is one of the best Kraber players in the game. We got to keep a lot of attention on IG and put a lot of respect on their name based on how they're performing.
Especially with the way that they kind of made a statement after that first week. They're coming back. They want to make sure that they can fight for this. And look at the next circle where it's going to be pulling towards Big Mod. You have a little bit of Lava CV peeking through. This circle is going to be shifting way more off to the right. And I like this rotation that we're seeing for Zeta Division. They're wasting no time. They noted that there was a squad in front of them, so they're going to take that time to start rotating.
Yeah. Meanwhile, look at how GMT played this. They kind of learned their lesson, not rotating fast enough from past games, so they rotate a lot quicker to the south side. And they find themselves over towards Lava City in a really, really good position here. So this is a potential for a big GMT game. Who's been relatively quiet the last couple of days. EMP's going to come through, and they're going to pop that caustic gas. They're a little nervous. They're trying to defend against that third party and against that fight.
That too, that was quite interesting. GMT just making sure they take care of one crypto drone off to the right. Now they're going to be able to hold this second floor. They have the caustic bros already set up, and now they're also going to be able to utilize an EMP to stop a push if this potential squad right underneath them actually ends up getting aggressive. But they just want to hold that position. They don't want to be too out in the open to get overly aggressive in this point.
Yeah, Nasky's clearing out floor by floor with that crypto. And meanwhile, just let him spray, Leo Green. You too, Hardeki, with the wingman on an rotation. Oh my gosh, it's like the opposite of shooting fish in a barrel, whatever that is.
A for effort, 100%. I like how they were preemptively tracking too, especially with the EVA A. All right, you know, we gotta give it to them. The Thurno now gonna be able to destroy these crypto drones. I feel like we're just juggling through these crypto drones, like we're in an entire circus, and the Thurno are forced to drop down the dome.
Yeah, that's right. Crypto and EU are synonymous at this point. As New Esports pushes up, gets some good shots in here, and Bambino. Ethernal is going to be clean wiped, and this is the New Esports special. This is what they do so well. These mid-game fights, despite playing a relatively defensive Caustic and Crypto team comp, they like to take these early fights. That's what worked well for them in Champs, but now you put yourself at risk of third party, and it's looking bleak for them.
Yeah, they were perfectly in alignment for Rascals to move in, and look at the composition that Rascals is running. They have the Wraith to portal in until that way they don't have to overextend, but here they didn't even need to do that. They noted that they were low, they get KP in the process, and they're stealing the loot.
Wise decision from you to back out right there. Hey, you're going to lose one, but you're going to at least keep two alive, and if we saw anything from G2 yesterday, a team of two can be dangerous in late game. Meanwhile, Alliance, again, dropping Thermal Station, rotating quick, and is in zone. Very, very good position right now. They're going to kind of somewhat hold this choke. Very similar to how we saw NRG play yesterday if you watched the NA finals. Alliance going to do the same exact thing, holding a fairly congested traffic jam of a choke here. So we'll keep an eye on them. Meanwhile, back to some more crypto action. It's going to be New trying to go for the revive. And looks like they'll get the banner, and it looks like they might be able to get a revive here on their teammate. So nice shot from New Esports. Staying alive, staying out of dodge.
And that's what I like to see too, just taking full advantage of running this crypto composition. You get to safely get that banner. You also don't have to overextend while getting some intel all at the same time. GMT Esports, they're doing the same thing, and there's another drone that's kind of circling around them like a shark in some bloody water, and GMT Esports, they are fine with that. They're going to sit into this building. They're going to be able to have some intel since you see Nastio is also on that crypto, and they want to get in some beams too. They don't want to overextend while still trying to rack up some damage to boost up their Evo shields.
Yep. Alliance find themselves in a good spot. And I like how they're playing this, right? Back on Wraith, and that's how you want your Wraith to play. You want to be that flex, that rotator that can get some intel for you. And that's what Hawkins is doing. He's just flying around, seeing as much as possible, playing a little bit wide, and then is always going to kind of work his way back to his team. As we see, Vice always has a sniper in hand, one of the best Gibraltar snipers. And typically you want your Gibraltar holding a longbow, holding a triple take, because obviously you get that additional shield. You can trade really, really well, and you're typically the one behind opponents. As we take a look at Alliance here. Meanwhile, New Esports find themselves back in their original spot, fully looted, fully kitted, but they got a rotation to make here. Let's jump into a listen in with New Esports and see how they play it.
I got 1 bot, 12 souls.
I have a lot of souls as well. No bots.
Okay.
I have to move.
I'm healing. Give me a moment.
Heal. But we only have 30 seconds.
You can even blown if you want, or I can TP from the car that you want me to normally do.
Yeah, you TP from the car. You TP from the car.
Got G7 and
can you make it all the way to Diner?
One team close. Probably tunnel team.
Might be Rascals.
Yeah, if you TP from the car, you can TP inside this building.
Okay, inside that building. Okay, yeah.
Wait for me, guys. I'm kind of far away.
Don't see anyone top.
I need to get in front so I can set the TP.
They're fighting. This car here.
Yeah. I'm doing it straight away.
Climb and put it on the first floor.
Okay.
Take it, boss.
Safe.
Let's go, boss. Let's go.
Is there a team above or not?
Maybe.
Check set anyone on the bottom so I can grab.
No one on top of us.
Pop barrels
It's
on
only
the
a team
bottom.
here.
Right.
And you can. It's on us. We can. It's on fucking us. We could walk up on that right on the roof and take the roof.
Outside here. Okay.
Can you walk up on me, Tyler?
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm with you. Post is.
Can we walk up? Can we just pick and beam the first guy we see?
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
No. Go back. Tyler, get the fucking TP. I dropped you 2 accelerants.
Wait, come pick him up. I can't pick him up. Pick up this one. I already had to. Oh, one, sorry. Put them both on. Alright, I'm gonna have TP. 3 seconds.
All the buildings are taken. We have to make a play for the roof.
Okay, I got TP.
We have to push the roof. We have to push the roof. No, we just push all together.
Okay. Post, wait.
I'm going. Climbing the stairs.
But they just got EMP too. Wait, a team drop. Team drop. Let them fight.
Kill the box. Just push.
Celtic blow. Nice.
Get to the top and stay on top. I got destroyed. I need to go back. Maybe a team can push me, boys.
I'm safe. Come to my side of the roof.
I need to heal 1 HP and 1 team can push me.
Yeah, we're sick. We're safe on roof right now.
I need to heal.
Yeah, you're fine. Can you barrel this post?
I will. That shield is swapped, Cash.
No, I'm not swapping. I'm taking...
Team's on 3 shots. Crack Gibby, 60 flash, 80 flash on Gibby.
Be careful, the zip line is not barreled.
Boys. The thing that we need to be careful.
Someone on this, someone here.
The thing that we need to be careful.
No shit, almost. Bottom floor.
Valk ulting on us. Everything is taken.
There's a team on this building. There's a team on our back, on our building.
Okay, they're fighting underneath us.
Boys, the only focus is the team landing on top of the roof, okay?
Okay.
Because we're gonna get pushed by this side. You need to barrel inside, post.
When I have barrel, I'll do it. Remember, I heard a zip line on the other building, so you're not alone. You're on top.
People, open fuel on that bubble.
I'm throwing good sconades. Might be huge. Yeah, flash. 15.
Valk ulting? No.
Oh, they took the bot. They're taking the bot. Oh, man. I'm gonna craft bots again.
Yeah, I'm crafting some.
Okay, battle, Paul.
You need to pick it up.
Wow, what a listen-in that was from all the way outside of zone. First off, a pristine rotation with the Wraith ultimate. That's why, of course, Wraith is still so crucial, all the way to holding one of the god spots, actually, New Esports. That is textbook right there, Vicky.
I love the way that they were also able to pre-plan 3 steps ahead. You saw with the crypto in conjunction to the portal, they didn't want to overextend without having that intel. And that really highlights how they're approaching this, how much thought they're putting into this. And Alliance, I saw in the kill feed, also were able to utilize that longbow, kind of take a clean hit on Clean, who was in that building right underneath GMT. And this is a crucial location for Alliance because they want to be able to keep trying to take these kills and keep putting on the pressure on the squad that's holding onto the roof.
Yeah, Vicky, you said that perfectly. Alliance found the best spot to go to rotate. They look at their positioning now. It is pristine. Such a wise decision to take this choke. Such a wise decision to hold on to it, not let anyone take it. And now you just have Vipes ripping away. Only 9 shots left in that longbow, though. He needs to start to conserve his ammo. But good job, good poke, forcing the resources out of New Esports on top of that building.
No, seeing the limited ammunition that we're seeing from Vipes with the sniper ammo makes me wonder how long has Alliance been holding onto the spot. They've been putting in so much peppering onto the squads that were fighting for that building, and we counted there was roughly 3 squads, maybe a potential 4th party, and Odin Gamers are now making this call to rotate off to the side. Oh, the potential kidnap opportunity! It didn't work out, but the pressure from a distance to suppress fire once that kidnap failed.
Yeah, and it's actually Wraith on Wraith trying to force a rotation here. Everyone has to rotate from the south side of Lava City all the way north towards that mini dome, and it's a tough rotation. Only a few squads are going to make it. So we're going to go from 12 to 6 really, really quick here. Alliance is going to be the one that just gets to eat. They get to feast as every team will be rotating. Look at this. Look how many squads have to move.
Everybody eats, and that's the chaos that we were talking about. Looking at this building, look how many people are going to be dropping down soon. Rascals playing out this dome. They're both broken. We just have Alpha with the shield, but not for long. We still have an alternator too out in this field, but these close range quarters are going in favor for Rascals. They waited for the dome, and now they're going to be able to call this portal out. You're going to have them just rotate off to the side, avoid this EMP as the chaos is closing in.
Oh, our champions from last game. Gambit's going to get taken out by the hands of Alliance and Zeta. Meanwhile, Rascals down 1, team of 2. Here comes the push. We got 5 teams nearby. The flank from Paradise connecting for almost every shot, but he's going to get tagged up. Tag, you're it, Alpha. Tag team as the 2 of them are going to do absolute work, looking for a quick shield swap. They need it as we got another couple teams coming to the third party.
And that's what they're going to do right now. The EMP has been activated. You talk about a duo squad putting in work, and that's exactly what Rascals is doing now. Na'Vi, a one-man squad. It's Max Strafe who has the alternator. That's what we were hearing earlier. And is going to try to go for a shield swap, noticing it may be already broken, having to pop the shield back. But there's so much action happening, Fallout, that he's going to be able to get away with it.
Yeah, Alliance out in 6th again. That's been the story of their tournament so far. So close yet so far. Meanwhile, we have Invictus Gaming still alive alongside Rascals Kick, all planned in Na'Vi. Here we go, IG. It's all up to Blast. He's going to connect. Can Blast do it? The impossible, the unthinkable. He's the last alive. He's going to get taken out. Meanwhile, Na'Vi is still alive. It's Strafey, former teammate of this GMT squad. 3 squads remain.
Call the rat exterminator right here. Na'Vi's still getting in some of this KP. There's 3 squads left. He's gonna get the placement as he goes down in 3rd. But it's maybe a 2-man squad that all planned is actually gonna be facing off against. And it's actually a full squad here off to the side. It's Licita France that are a 2-man team on the other side of the dome.
Yes, we got Kick, team of 3 versus LCDF. Also a team of 3. I see 6 players alive at the top right of our screen. So I think we got a clean, fair 3 versus 3 arenas-esque fight to close this one out. No risk of third party. It all comes down to this.
This is so important. Tags throwing it off here. It's going to be Kick moving in for the perfect opportunity. They also have the redeploy too here if necessary. You want to delay, but they lose to Gibraltar. They don't have the opportunity of the cover of the dome now.
Yeah, nice shot by LCDF. They get the first blood. They take out 1. Kick is going to neutralize those, so it's a 2 versus 2. Uxako pushing him, needs to get there desperately to help his teammates. And we see some good damage being put in with the Ava, or so with the R301. Great head glitch. Going to go on top, get high ground with the Ava 8. Connects for a great shot, and he has to clutch a 1v2. The flank's going to come through. A 1v2 clutch is going to happen. Kick is going to do it. What a showing, what a performance from Kick.
Uxako came through. He didn't even have the red Evo shield. He saw the opportunity, and he played that dome perfectly.
Wow. Perfect finish with the R301 head glitch to do about 80 to 90 damage. Pushing high ground with the Ava 8. Needs to clutch a 1v2 and does it. What a finish right there. Kick is your champion, and boy, they had to earn that one.
The way that they played that when they were down a teammate at the start of the fight was absolutely insane. Slow, patiently, recognize the situation, and look at that. 8 kills, 20 points going in the pocket. But I like the way how aggressive a lot of these squads have been. Alliance with 7 kills. You have Rascals with 8 kills. A lot of these teams have been turning it up within these games, and that's why it's been so volatile.
Honestly, there are 8, 9, maybe 10 teams that could still place within top 3 going to game 5, which is what you love to see. Kick was one of them that needed to perform here, needed to have a big game, and they pull it out. And it was a great way as they were in 11th place going into that game with only 14 points. A 20-point game is going to put them at 34 points, likely within the top 5. Huge plays from them. Meanwhile, the French squad all planned in 2nd. Na'Vi doing it big with an 11-point game as well right after. And this is going to certainly make things interesting going into this next game. But real quick, as we have a moment, Vicky, I want to dissect that last game there. Obviously, we had an interesting Lava City end game. A tough pull, though, for teams like New that had to come from Lava City.
Yeah, when you have the end circle end up in Lava City and you're having a lot of these teams fight for that high ground control, fighting for the roof, when that circle was moving away from those buildings, you don't have the safety if you're running a caustic composition of your barrel setup. You have to play against the wall, and you also have 3 other teams right behind you doing the same thing, getting funneled out. That's why teams like Alliance had such a good position. But here we have it, man. This was actually insane. Utaku, who also popped off 5 kills and 1,007 700 damage. Let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah, the Spaniard, one of our few Spanish top pro players, he shows up massively. Meanwhile, Hiarka and OJ Rain playing a good support role for their main slayer, Uxako. Massive plays. They obviously dropped big mod, so that's a favorable zone for them. They like that finish, and so far, let's just call a spade here, Vicky. We've had so many southern zones, right? 3 in a row, and the teams that have won have been Gambit, Kick. All 3 teams dropped within the vicinity of where that zone ended, so obviously some favorable zones here for these southern teams.
Yeah, you look at teams like Eternal, who had taken that game 1, and then you look at Gambit and the way that they've been landing constantly in Lava Siphon, and also looking at IG. Just look at this leaderboards right now. Gambit Esports is still leading the way with 39 points, but Alliance is consistently climbing up the leaderboards. They've moved up 2 spots. They've secured themselves so many points within this 3rd week, and I feel like as we've been seeing Alliance progress through the ALGS, they've only been getting better and better with time.
Oh, absolutely. They're showing up big. And you know, it's interesting. Most games, consistent 5th or 6th place finishes and 7 or 8 kill finishes won't really do it for you. But because the points have been so evenly distributed across so many teams, Alliance is in 2nd. I mean, you would not have seen that in many other lobbies, but that just goes to show how evenly matched this entire lobby is. And at this point, going all the way down to clean in 12th, any team could still get 1st place today in Group C versus A. I mean, this has been a treat to watch.
And that was game number 4. We still have 2 more games left here, Fallout, and it's crazy to see how the leaderboards are still shoulder to shoulder like we were once seeing at the end of game 2.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. You know, and again, the fact that we've had so many southern zones and such opportunities for teams like Gambit to just run away with it, you thought they were going to. No, we still have a wide open game here in Group C versus A. We still got games 5 and game 6, and at this point, it's anyone's game. You're not going to want to miss these last 2. Trust me, we'll be back with Onset and Gaskin after this.
PGL is the official broadcast partner of the Apex Legends Global Series NA and EMEA Pro League.
Welcome back once more, everybody. Game 5 just around the corner. And it is myself, Esports' first ever Lucha Libre, alongside the Devil's favorite son, Dan Gaskin. Oh my God, I gave away, sorry. Oh, whoops, I gave away your identity there. My bad. Anyway, welcome along, everybody. Welcome back, I should say, to the Apex Legends Global Series. EMEA Pro League, 4 games in the books, in the history books, Dan. And another win coming in for our 4th different team of the day today. In Game 4, it was Kick Esports who come out with a big win at the end and a huge clutch moment for them.
Yeah, the top of the leaderboard is starting to look quite tight now. We are starting to get a few teams spreading away from the rest. As you can see, there we have 5 teams at the top, all on the 30s. Gambit just a little bit further, alongside Alliance making a 2-place jump. But it's that 8-place jump from Kick, which has really propelled them up this leaderboard to give them a chance to win this Group C versus Group A. We were talking as the broadcast started, Onset Libre, whatever you are, man. What's your name again? El Onset Grande?
Come on,
it's
man.
like I'm at Starbucks.
Everybody watching at home is 100% sure of what my name is right now.
I panic when I'm at Starbucks. I'm panicking now. A grande, a latte. What are you?
El Gran Onseto.
That's the one. Okay, El Gran Onseto. Yeah, we were saying how we wanted Na'Vi or Alliance to kind of show what they're made of, and it seems like Alliance have been the team to really step up this week.
Yeah, Na'Vi though, big clutch play coming in from Strafey in those final moments. Not only picking up KP, but managing to rat his way to a 3rd place finish. So really impressive for them. That could be absolutely instrumental for Na'Vi moving forward. Not only in these games, not only in today's final standings, but also as the Pro League closes to an end. Might be massive for Na'Vi. Let's see de France. They've been pretty solid today as well. Pretty consistent, Dan, but yet to have that win on the board. But as we say, winning in Apex Legends is tough. Winning in EMEA seems like an achievement on its own.
Yeah, I mean, let's see de France only 7 points off 1st place, so still within touching distance, and that's what's important. As long as you are there or thereabouts going into Game 6, then I think you're going to be confident enough that you can walk away with some points here today in A versus C. But it's about how many points they're going to be. We've touched upon it many a time now with how this format works. You get a significant amount of more points by finishing in 1st, 2nd, or 3rd than the rest of the lobby, because after then, it only drops down by 1 point rather than those kind of 2 extra points for jumping up each placement once you're in the top 3. Also, I'm just going to ignore the zone and pretend it hasn't happened, by the way, because it's, again...
We don't even need to show it anymore.
We're going down south.
Yeah, we don't really need to show it. We're going down the south. There is another half of World's Edge. Maybe we'll see it at some point. Maybe Game 6, it'll be so northern, it'll actually be off the edge of the map. But we'll have to wait and see what does happen, because we are headed south once again. Like you mentioned, a little bit of Harvester, a little bit of the edges of Lava Siphon, and just to the north of Tree is where we're going to be heading. Another tough zone, to be honest with you, Dan. If it doesn't pull back towards Harvester, again, open ground going to be vital. And for teams like IG, they're probably thinking, hey, we need to get a wiggle on here. We need to find somewhere to play because we don't have that Gibraltar to give us that cover.
Yeah, although they did find success in that one game, even though there was an open ground finish, but it's about how they got there. We've seen various times in previous weeks with Invictus not playing the Gibby, when they do get caught outside of the zone and when they have to transition in and it's uncomfortable, it can be a spot where they're just like, oh, I wish we had that Gibby now, just for a little bit of a bubble. So you're completely right. Get a wiggle on, as you say. Get into a spot where you can hold, use as much terrain as possible, get those caustic barrels down, and just be a nuisance to the rest of the lobby as long as possible.
And for Gambit, I think they would like the zones to repeat themselves for every single... Oh my word, unlucky. Jeez. Relax, son. That's a big spray coming in from him, just forcing that team back into Fragment East, back to where they tried to rotate in from. But going back to my point, you know, Gambit, I think, would like to wrap these zones up and take them with them every single time that they play in the Apex Legends Global Series, because they have been nothing short of kind to them at the moment. Alliance, very good performance from them in the last game. Again, really were fragging out at one point as well. Picked up a lot of KP very quickly that gave them that points total. And it's been a much better day from them today, Dan.
Yeah, for Gambit, it's been like Groundhog Day, hasn't it? They just keep waking up and the zone's pretty much the same every time. And they're like, oh, okay, well, maybe we didn't play it right last time, but now we can play it this way. Oh, it's gone okay. Oh, now we can play it like this way. And they're just going to get better and better and better every single time when these zones are there or thereabouts, a similar rotation for them. Of course, we know it does move. It's not exactly the same spot, but it has been down south every time today. Na'Vi are going to be making their move as well. Are going to try and push through the train tracks at the moment, but it looks like they're going to change their mind. The ping comes through because someone else had already taken residence and they didn't fancy taking that fight.
Yeah, pretty sure that's Gambit inside of there as well, who are trying to hold down the majority of this big building. They might be able to actually just get ahead of them here, Na'Vi, if they're quick about things. and get inside of this big room. It was indeed Gambit there, and you can see Artico just peeping through the windows and spotting out that rotation from Na'Vi as well. I'm sure he's going to be calling that out to his team as they hold down this tunnel, which is going to be pretty good towards that end game with the exit just to their east. But for now, Gambit, as you say, top of the leaderboards at the moment, looking pretty solid. And again, consistency should be the name of the game for them today, just because of those zones which are falling in their favor.
But they could so easily lose that first place if they just drop off in these last 2 games. That's how unforgiving these lobbies can be, and how scary some of the teams that we also know are in these games and can just, you know, pop off at any point. Alliance only 2 points behind Gambit. Kick only 5 points behind Gambit. Rascals up there in 4th place, by the way. I don't think we've said enough about this team. 33 points they find themselves on at the moment. They jumped up 3 places after last game, and they really could make a difference. They were the team that griefed 789 way back when in game 1, and I say griefed. They just dropped in the same place as 789, and they asserted their dominance, and they're looking a pretty dominant force in today's games as well.
Na'Vi, I think, will be filled with a little bit of confidence after that clutch that came in the last game, getting into that top 3 from Strafey and managing to pick up those KP. It's given them a lifeline here, and I'm not talking about the legend. I'm talking about the fact that without that one game, Na'Vi might be looking down the end of a barrel that they don't really want to be looking down, to be honest with you. Some shots will come over that fence and just cause Nesh to back down a bit. They've gone for a quicker rotation here, Dan, but the only issue with it is, yes, they've got a good spot, but they've got to hit some shots because those Evo shields are looking a little bit flimsy at the moment.
Yeah, they're 25 points adrift off of first place, so they need a big game. Even though, yes, okay, they kind of put some points on the board in the previous game. It was a game they needed to be able to at least give themselves the chance of getting back into things, but it's still a little bit too late at times, but we'll see. If they can get some consistency now going into the last 2, then perhaps they can start to make a late resurgence and show us what they're made of. All planned, doing a little bit of gatekeeping from this area as well, just looking inside of the zone to the outside of the zone and really showing those teams who are trying to move in on them that they're not going to be able to have an easy transition whatsoever.
Yeah, nothing better than just stepping inside of a building, looking down on the floor and going, ooh, purple bolt. Pop that on the shotgun there, Hackis, and maybe your way forward. Scout and Eva 8 going to be the loadout for him as they try and make their move towards the zone as well. Not quite as desperate to get into a good position, or should I say a central position for Alliance. They've been fighting really well on the edge in the last couple of weeks, so they're going to go back to what has brought them that success so far. The same could be said about Kick as well, just crafting on the edge of zone here. Over at Overlook, just taking their time, trying to scope out where some teams are going to be moving, and for Kick, that last win was really, really impressive, and having the Valkyrie on the lineup as well is going to give them that ability to just skip past this zone and get into a safe spot.
Yeah, skip past a few teams. With where the zone is going as well, there's a lot of elevation. Again, a lot of areas for Valkyrie teams to land on. It's about picking and choosing when you want to go, and if you just want to instead do what you said in the previous game. Just go for a short Valkyrie ultimate to get ahead of a couple of teams and then walk your way in. That way it is slightly less risky. You're not landing in no man's land. You certainly get a better lay of the land because you can kind of scout something, take a safe spot, and then push in. We'll see which way Kick approach it, but for now, they're more than happy just to follow this circle, go onto the edge, and see what happens as they've got a beacon ahead of them.
Let's hear those beautiful voices of Kick as they do make that decision now. Let's jump into a listening.
You're fine, you're fine. I have 5 butts.
Yes.
We're gonna do another beacon, right? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna do another beacon, right?
Yeah, we play for double beacon.
I'm milling.
There is a car package, keep an eye on it.
Okay.
So we get info about Fraggy's teams and Frag West.
Let me heal and I'm gonna do it, okay?
Yeah, take your time.
There is another... And 2x, I think. It's a 2x or no?
I'm watching left side.
No, 6.
Okay, you will not give me bubble, right?
What scope do you have, Oshi?
3x.
Give me. I can give you 2x if you have.
I don't need, no.
Oh, you don't need? Okay. I don't think you need bubble. The only team that I saw was these guys.
Watch the zone, watch the zone.
Bro, the sun is pulling here.
Bro, do you think we can...
Play from here?
Yes, I was thinking about that. Go around, right?
Go full, let's go full around.
Yeah, and maybe we trippy these guys here on top.
They took the car package in front of us.
Okay.
Where was it?
In front of us.
Close to the choke.
Yeah, there.
If we need to fight, I think we can do it. There's not many teams around, or maybe no one.
There should be... I don't know about teams around, we don't know. Like...
I don't think there will be someone. We are edge as fuck. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, We just go around. We go full around. Maybe the team that is playing here is Alliance. Okay?
Yeah.
They like to play
Be
there.
careful people rotting like here in this tunnel.
Mm-hmm. They're shooting each other.
It's 3 teams there.
Alliance, Mask.
And Fenerbahce. These guys took the care package here, right? So maybe they can be in front of us. Maybe.
Well, some good information gathered there for the viewers at home on what the next move is going to be for Kick. Trying to get that beacon information down, playing off of that third zone, which is something we're seeing more and more from these edge team comps who are running Valkyrie.
Yeah, and there was consideration there to go for double beacon as well, but they instead decided they wanted to move after getting the initial one. Perhaps felt that when they got the information for the third zone, it was enough for them to make their move. Again, it can come down to just zones that you've already played before, patterns emerging that you've already noticed before, and you're very certain as to where it's going to be going, and it seems that that is going to be the way for them. Alliance are going to be on the other side of this big rock at the moment, and there's just a bit of scouting going on from Hackies, and you can understand why. Just to make sure they've got as much room as possible, and checking whether to see they've got a rotation around the rock if they need it. It's always good to send out your Wraith player just to double check as to what's going on when you don't have a crypto.
I was going to spot one player here, and I'm pretty sure that Zeta division in front of them going to destroy that black market, which is just going to momentarily, at least, maybe affect the inventory. But as we know, if you've got a low ult down, then most of the time that you're going to be pretty comfortable with everything that's in that backpack. Having a look at that third beacon, though, and having a look at that zone, and again, it looks like we might be heading towards that respawn building. Harvester, going to be some tough late rotations out from there. We do see that finish on the fences, which is just to the east of the largest rock structure, which is inside of that zone. So again, a pretty tough zone for teams here. If you're approaching from, I would say, the west side and you take those tracks late, you might be in a pretty good spot here. Alliance is one of those teams doing that.
Yeah, Alliance, after their scouting mission as well, they would have heard a Valkyrie team just joined them on the edge and might be shot by Zeta Division right now. So it's whether Alliance go around for the third person. Yeah, Hackies is going to go have a look at this, and there is the engagement that we were expecting. So they can hold this now. They can just gatekeep that team. And the team that has Valkyried in, maybe Kick Esports, but I'm not certain on that one. They're going to have to take either Alliance or Zeta in a fight.
Well, Alliance just making sure their backs are clear. Let's jump into the comms now with Alliance. See what that next play is going to be.
Yeah, they're pushing up. They're fighting hard. They're fighting hard. We can maybe. I'm porting on this. I'm porting on this.
You want me with you, I guess? No,
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 no.
I gotta hold this.
Should we go
Playing slow. Playing slow. Playing slow.
Oh.
Play slow. We have God spot.
I'm hoping not to fight. I'm hoping not to fight.
Make them fight, baby. Make them fight.
I can't. Fucking. Tangos for shit. Cool, I got a drop.
Yeah, I got bubble for you if you need.
I'm good.
Good shit.
We still have a Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
Alright, give me that shit.
I'm holding behind.
There's still nobody in this compound, which is really good.
Yeah. They can take my TP, by the way, so be careful about that.
Yeah.
Phoenixing.
I
think you guys should walk up and I can hold behind us here.
Okay.
You guys walk up and play it forward.
Okay, we don't want a team walking down here though, because I kind of want to pressure this though. I want to pressure this.
I mean, it's fine. I have a scout. I can play up here and shoot people scout. You just walk up, Yuki, and hold the choke.
Okay, but really care here though. Really care west.
Did I see it?
No, nobody there. Nobody there.
Thought I saw again. Valculti.
Yeah. Looking. Slow here, Vibes. There could be a team here.
Yeah, I'm playing with you. High ground.
Yeah.
That was a package, I think that was a package.
Top is clear. We have God spot.
Okay. I'm just scared we're gonna have a Valculti on here.
We're just gonna pressure teams who come in from here. That's it.
Maybe you guys hold it. Maybe we swap. Maybe I hold here and you guys hold 2 behind.
Okay.
Yeah. Because there'll be less pressure up front. Yeah.
I think that's better. Dropping thermites. 2 thermites here.
Want to clear our backs. That's all.
Well, Lions feel very confident, Dan. Understandably so as well. You can see where that zone has pulled. It's pulled a little bit away from that respawn building, down towards where Alliance are holding this choke, kind of overlooking all of the carnage that might be going down inside of Harvester. So if they can hold this position and make sure they ward off any teams, and most importantly, make sure their back is clear, which is what Yuki was trying to communicate, and they should be in a really good spot here.
Yeah, really good discipline as well from them, not pushing when they initially thought there was an engagement, just playing it slow, recognizing that if the fight did stop, they would leave themselves a little bit vulnerable if they had have pushed it. So instead, they said, look, we've got Godspot at the moment. Let's just wait. Let's be patient. And now they'll be rewarded for it, as round 3 closing means we'll get a little bit more information as to where this next circle is going to go shortly. But it was Kick Esports who did Valkyrie in, and they seem to have taken control of the train tracks for now. So they've done enough just to be able to hold out some teams here and at least be on the edge. But 19 squads remaining with round 3 closing. Eventually, some of these squads are going to have to come toe-to-toe, and it might happen in around 30 seconds as Kick get the first knock on Lasita.
Yeah, really good angles being taken here as well by Oxaco, who manages to get that knock with the combination shots coming in from his teammate as well. And now you can see the last 2 members just trying to scarper away and escape as 42 Flesh as unfortunately, it won't be the knock for them, but it allows them to creep up into zone, and that's the most vital thing. The issue for them is Mr. Hackis, who's up on top of this hill with a scout in his hand, a 3x on top of it, and he's just pinning them in this corner.
The amount of space that Alliance have been able to take here as well, they're really shoving their elbows out, not allowing anyone else to get anywhere close to them at the moment. And that's so impressive when we've got 17 squads now. So 19 gone down to 17,
that's so
2 eliminated as that circle closed. But Kick Esports, that circle moving for them is going to be a difficult transition because Alliance can really hold them out.
That zone, Paul, again, violent down to the south, and it looks like it might be ending around the fences compound that I mentioned, maybe down on that low ground. But for all of the teams that are up inside of Harvester at the moment, the ants in the anthill, well, there's only one way out, and it's going to be difficult for everyone to make it out alive. So if I'm inside of there and I've got a chance to rotate, you've got to take it as early as possible, because the later that you leave it, the more likely you are to run into some problems, and there's already problems in the kill feed. New esports are involved. Kick picking up yet another knock as well onto Lerabinu from Lasita, France. And this is starting to pick up the action now. As you can see, Hiaka's down to 1 HP, but should be able to get that battery off pretty comfortably.
Yeah, only one team in that next circle at the moment in the fences area just by the rock. But Kick Esports starting to shred, starting to really assert their dominance on the outside of this building area, and just assuring that they are going to make things difficult for those teams who are now looking to push out. There's only 30 seconds till this zone moves, so it's not much time to make a decision. Valkyrie ults, I'm sure, will start to come in sooner rather than later, and that means there's going to be certain teams who are going to be dropped on. There's going to be 50-50s here or there. This kill feed is going to light up in about 30 seconds.
Well, for Alliance, I kind of feel bad for them, because 2 minutes ago we were talking about Godspot. They were talking about it themselves. We heard it from the comms. Well, that is completely and utterly changed now. They're going to have to make a really tough decision and fight their way through numerous teams. GMT Esports are one of the teams who are inside of Harvester for now. Badoli trying to create a little bit of space by getting those barrels down. And now for the IGL here, Nasky, he's going to have to work out what the next step is for them. Plan A, B, and C, all being calculated inside of his head.
Yeah, sometimes these are not the fun situations to be as an IGL, because you've got to make a decision, and that decision can very easily be the wrong one. And whilst Alliance may not have Godspot to win the game, they certainly have a spot where they can survive and do damage, as GMT are in a really tough situation.
They are. They've got the zone closing behind them as well, but look at the kill feed. Gambit are there again. Nasky's going to take quite a bit of damage, should be able to just about sneak into zone. Won't be able to take that portal, and he might be taken out by the defensive bombardment. GMT Esports, it's only Sadell on his own, but look at the damage that he's managing to do. He's forced the bubble inside of the zone as well. Will he pick up the KP? It doesn't look like he will, as Kick pick up more themselves.
Kick pick up more. GMT go down. Zeta also lost players. So a few teams make, well, a lot of teams just fell. 10 teams approximately just went down in that previous circle. Na'Vi really amongst the action right now as well, but it's still both Kick and Na'Vi picking up kills here, doing the damage, just getting rid of all these Valkyrie teams who are joining the circle a little bit too late.
Look at this though, Alliance in the feed, and they're taking out Kick at the moment. I think that's the bubble fight that's going down in front of you. As you can see, there's a portal going down as well, but Gambit just overlooking everything for the tracks at the moment. The Rampage hitting pretty hard as well as Liogri hits those shots. Fenerbahce Esports making their way across the top of these tracks as they're involved in a big fight as well. They'll take down some of the members here of Invictus Gaming. Pinky Finky manages to get the knock and will get back to his teammates as well.
That might be the end of Invictus if they can't manage to clutch up, and a 1v3 finds a little bit of success. But no, that's going to be the full wipe. Invictus, the 7th team to be eliminated, or the team eliminated in 7th, should I say. So we're down to just 6, but 2 of those teams are Gambit and Alliance, our top 2 in the leaderboards right now.
And Na'Vi as well in a very strong position too, playing under this big root of the tree, if you like. just trying to get some angles. And a good bit of survivability coming in from Strafey as well, who has been arguably the pop-off player of that last game that we saw. Arguments will be had, of course, by maybe some of the Kick fans saying that 1v1 at the end was the biggest moment, or the 1v2, I should say. Fenerbahce Esports somehow have managed to stabilize here, and now will also be able to take to the skies with this skyward dive, landing on out of bounds, just waiting a few seconds to see if anyone's going to fight and if they can drop into third party.
They're dropping into complete madness here, but are going to be able to do the damage. Odin thought they were sitting pretty here with the best spot in the game, but they are very much ambushed by Fenerbahce Esports. That's the perfect Valkyrie ultimate. It's really worked out for them. They've got kills. They should be able to get back up to a full 3.
That is the elbow drop off the top rope, if ever I've seen it. Gambit now moving into position. They're the team who are trying to clean up these pieces onto Fenerbahce. As you can see, Draconian manages to pick one up, and Gambit want to get involved here. They want to get this fight done and dusted, but they have to be careful of the zone because that thing is going to chunk. But they get the clean wipe, and they all stay on their feet as well.
Well, there we go. Na'Vi are able to get some kills as well. So Gambit and Na'Vi still alive and healthy at the moment. 3 squads remaining. Gambit overlooking everything, and Strafey falls. Na'Vi are getting shredded, and now the third party's also there. Gambit sitting pretty right now.
The Ogre and that Rampage looking very, very good. It's a Sunday night here, though, not a Friday. As Alliance are the team who have managed to fight their way through as well. What a rotation it's been from Alliance, and now for Na'Vi, they are the target of everybody's reticle. Hack is trying to move up to confirm these kills. A missile swarm will come in as well. I bet he wishes more than anything he had just one grenade to work with. But for now, Alliance have to be happy with their position.
Gambit in first place, Alliance in second place. 2 points between these squads at the moment, and they're both alive in the final 3. Na'Vi, the outlier, they're down in the bottom 10, but they could use a big game, but they're certainly stuck between 2 teams, and this is going to be a real struggle. There's the attempt to the kidnap. Didn't really work out. Gambit backing off.
Gotta be careful now as Alliance smell blood in the water. With Hardeki taking that damage down, he's going to have to heal. The bubble now be forced by Na'Vi, who have somehow managed to stabilize as well, and this is what the standoff situations can do. Alliance knew if they went all in on that fight and tried to convert them into kills, then they might have been left open to that third party coming in. Alliance now taking damage. If you look across the HP of all of the teams, then it's Alliance who have the most. All of them with the red Evo shields. The bubble down for them early, though.
You have to look at what natural cover you have. Alliance, they're really struggling. They're running out of it. They've only got the fence to the right, a rock to the left. Gambit have the most natural cover right now, and they're closest to where this final circle goes. If they can wait, if they can delay, maybe they can force the other 2 teams to fight.
And with the bubble being gone for Alliance as well, it means that that defensive bombardment is going to do a lot of damage. Hardeki with the L-Star takes down Nesh as well. The bubble late here from Gambit. All they have to do is just hold on to their horses, play as patiently as possible, because Na'Vi are now down to 1 as Hackett picks up the knock onto Strafey.
Potentially just a battle for second place between Alliance and Na'Vi. So Alliance desperate to pick up those KP, but they're well aware of where Gambit currently reside. And Gambit shieldless in certain parts. Haven't been able to get a swap, haven't been able to get any bats. The Ogre very low, and Alliance might be able to take advantage of that. They've got a bubble up as well. They can reset
that's big from Alliance, though. They've managed to get that final knock onto the Na'Vi player, and now Gambit are going to move in, but Artico will go down, and now they only have 2 standing. Good shots coming in from Hardeki, though, with the Eva 8. He'll get the knock as well, but surely this has just opened the door for Alliance to walk in. No! Hardeki! Oh, I call him the clutch master as Gambit once again show what they're made of.
Oh, I just love watching Hardeki do Hardeki things time and time again. It looked like maybe it was going to just be able to pop off at the right time for Alliance. They timed it correctly, but Gambit was just patient enough. I mean, that was so ridiculous, it blew the mask off my face. I can't believe it. It shouldn't have happened, but plays around those knockdown shields perfectly. And that's also why it's quite nice to have an L-Star in your back pocket.
Ridiculous. Gambit Esports, what a day you're having. And Hardeki once again reminding everybody at home, if you weren't a fan of his, where you should be now. They are top of the leaderboards, and they will be even further in front after that performance. 9 kills, 12 points for placements, 21 overall, but what a final fight that was between Gambit Alliance and Na'Vi. Each of them playing it to the T. Unfortunately for Na'Vi, they couldn't quite get the damage done. They couldn't force Alliance into Gambit or vice versa. But that was about as good as an Apex Legends end zone gets.
I mean, 3 titans, really, wasn't it? Just 3 teams that you would love to watch time and time again in any end zone. You could analyze their performance for the rest of the night when you look at it. There were so many difficult decisions to make, but I think they all made the right decisions at the right time, but sometimes your hand is forced. And on this occasion, Gambit were patient enough to force the hand of both other teams, get them weak enough, and then yes, okay, maybe Alliance had a chance to win that game, but sometimes the clutches do come through. Hardeki just had too much, and Gambit come out first place, and they will continue to reign supreme in this lobby.
There's so much to talk about in those final moments that Gambit did right. The attempted kidnap, it didn't work, but I love the idea. They managed to force the bubble of Alliance as well. They had the last bubble, just let them reset. It was perfect from Gambit, and the clutch in those final moments as well, especially after they had one player who went down. It felt like first, Dan, after this stabilizer somehow coming from Na'Vi as well. It was amazing to watch. I'm going to go and watch that one back in the break. It was ridiculous.
It's one of those that where Na'Vi looked like they were down and out, and in another lobby, in another final 3, they may have been down and out because someone may have pushed, tried to get the KP, and thrown away the chance of first place. But all those teams considered the fact that they could win the game, and that's why we had such an even final 3 of all teams who were kind of dancing around, using any natural cover, trying to assure they had the best chance possible to taking first place. None of them wanted to settle for second or third.
Well, we're going to bring Kate back in now because I know it's Halloween today, but there's nothing scarier than a man named Hardeki. What a performance.
Ooh, you're absolutely right. But I actually want to draw attention to something here. Alliance. We obviously have talked about them a number of times throughout our first 5 games here, and there's a reason for that, but they've not taken the W but yet. I want to real quick go and talk about, we look at match number 2, Alliance coming in with 8 kills, match number 3, 9 kills, match number 4, Alliance at 7 kills, but out at 7th place. We're talking, let me ask this question. Is Alliance, like, you know, always the bridesmaid, never the bride on set?
I mean, I would like to say yes by stats, but then you look at tournament wins. These guys have got tournament wins. They know how to get it done. They've got it done in regular format. They've got it done in match point format. And I think they're just playing how they think is the best way to get the most points on the board here. They're not worried, I don't think, too much about a first place. As long as they have the most points on the leaderboard at the end of it, then they're going to be happy. And Alliance are going to be happy today with the performance because, like I mentioned, week 1 was awful. Week 2 wasn't too much better as well. But today, Alliance have returned to form, and it's been great to see them putting in that work and really stepping up to the plate when it matters.
You're absolutely right. And Dan, we're looking at going one more game here. I'm just curious. I mean, what are you expecting from Alliance here? Can they pull out a W here? They've clearly performed pretty well, but they haven't turned it over to the dub.
I think the important fact for Gambit and on the other side, of course, the fact that they're so close behind is that they are so close behind Alliance. They can catch up Gambit, and all it takes is Gambit to fall off and not have a good game. And I think that's the shame for Alliance is they have had amazing consistency, and it wouldn't really matter that they haven't won the game if it weren't for the fact that Gambit are the team above them that seem to be picking up the wins. The only team to pick up 2 victories today, and the only other team that seems to have found the same consistency with all these southern circles. Now, what would throw a spanner in the works, may I say it, a northern circle could change everything here, and both of these teams might fall out in 19th and 20th.
Well, that actually was my next question about, obviously the southern zones, they're kinder to some teams than others. I mean, dare I ask this question again, because I feel like we've got one more game for EMEA. Dare I ask, if Northern is pulled, who are we seeing coming out on top? And I feel like I'm just it's gonna be South, and then I'm gonna eat my words.
I don't know. I can't predict who's gonna do something for something we haven't seen. You know, it's a very tough question to answer. We kind of have to just go on the data that we have in front of us at the moment. Sure. I think that with the fact that it doesn't matter where the zone is for me in Zone 6. I think Gambit and Alliance are going to be up there, and Na'Vi are going to be up there as well. You remember I talk about momentum plays, right? And I talked about it yesterday when we were watching North America. G2, one fight that they just cleaned the floor with the team, and all of a sudden G2 were back. I feel like that happened with Na'Vi in the previous game that we saw, which was where, you know, Strafey managed to get a top 3 and was going off in those final moments. That game that we just seen them as well, getting towards that end game, momentum. You can see it building now for Na'Vi. This next game, I expect them to be up there once more.
That'll be excellent. And Dan Oblo, as we take a look at our leaderboards, we are going into game number 6, and what a pivotal game it will be, because that is only 8 points between 1 and 2, which I know it's a pretty big chasm. I'll admit that. But Dan, there's still a lot of points on the board here coming in for game number 6.
It's Alliance are in touching distance of Gambit, even though 8 points, yes, can look a big difference. If Gambit have just one poor game here and drop out in the bottom kind of 16 to 20th, and Alliance share that same consistency they have throughout and finish top 5, that will be enough, you would have thought, with the kills they've been picking up, to take first place. So at least they have the chance to do so, but they don't really want to just be hoping that Gambit don't perform. That's the annoying thing, but they're kind of in that scenario now where they have to. Elsewhere, there are a few teams who still could kind of make waves here to push up to the top 3. Invictus are still in contention for it, of course. Kit could very easily fall out with a bad game as well. Le Site de France and Rascals there or thereabouts, but Rascals will be pretty frustrated that they didn't pick up enough points in that game. I think they were on 33 before game 5, so they weren't able to do anything. And again, it just comes back to consistency here. We need to see teams do it from game 1 to game 6, not have one off game, and you'll find yourself in the top 3.
It's easy as that. Just kidding. Well, let's talk about it. It is time to enter Lenovo Legion's ALGS Pro League giveaway for your chance to win a free Lenovo Legion game and PC. Go ahead and visit twitter.com/Lenovo Legion while Dan Oblo adjusts his devilish horns. And you know what? Hey, what else? If you're a Prime Gaming member, listen up. We got a nice little mention for you. Prime members can grab the exclusive Electric Royalty bundle with an epic Watson skin. Look at her. She looks awesome. Shocking new look for the Bolt SMG as well. This offer expires November 5th, just around the corner. Visit gaming.amazon.com/Apex Legends for more details, and make sure to check back each month to claim the latest for your legends. That's quite the that's quite the skin. That's quite the skin there. On
that was go on. You can get this right.
No.
Come on, Kat. You can get this right.
I'm just gonna sit over here and.
El Gran on Seto, everybody. It's, you know, it rolls off the tongue. I know. I mean, that Watson skin looks awesome, right? Any free stuff is great stuff. So go and check that out. That's my second choice, dressing up as Watson, but I went with, you know, a kind of lucha libre thing. Maybe next time.
Well, someday, everybody cross their fingers. Something else you can all do? Well, of course, that's follow us on the socials. Twitter.com/PlayApexEsports, YouTube.com/PlayApexEsports, and Twitch.tv/PlayApex. We're everywhere you want to be. And you know where you want to be right now? I'm going to guess game number 6. We've got that coming up right around the corner. So hold on tight. The hype is real.
You're being aimed at.
Game number 6 is finally here, and the clashing of the titans of this Group A versus Group C matchup. I'm Julius Fallout, joined alongside Hound Kitty as we're getting ready for game number 6. What a treat today has been.
Absolutely. Gambit has taken 2 games now, and what a way to remain consistent, but even more interesting to see that despite taking those 2 games, they're not too far up ahead. An 8-point difference for Alliance, who hasn't taken a single game, but has remained within that consistent spot of being able to get so much KP to stay in that second place spot with 52 points.
Yeah, Alliance just going to prove the importance of consistency in Apex in competitive titles here. And it goes to show, if you get 6th, 5th, 4th, and of course a 2nd place, some consistent finishes, you're in the running and you're right there. You have an opportunity to go big in game number 6, which speaking of which, we got game 6 ready. The dropship is flying, and it's all about who can perform here when it finally matters. We got Alliance, we got Gambit in that top 2 spot. There's a couple teams behind that are also in the running, Vicky.
Yeah, Fallout, what if we cast or curse a circle? I'm predicting the circle's just obviously going to pull south, so by that logic, it should obviously pull north. But we'll have to see now as our teams, Gambit Esports, they're going to the Pride and True, Lava Siphon, and this is where they've been landing the entire time, which is why these circles have allowed Gambit to pre-plan ahead of time for those last-minute positions where they want to land, and it looks like somebody's actually contesting them here.
Yeah, and you know you're right, Vicky. Let's just keep fake manifesting in a south zone. And actually, no, here we go. A south zone again. I guess sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles. It looks like the zone will be pulling more fairly central, but over towards Lava Siphon as well. So expect Gambit to loot quick and expect Gambit to kind of stay put here. And GMT, good opportunity here. It's going to be another Harvester finish, back-to-back Harvester finishes here.
It's interesting. I'm wondering right now with Harvester going in favor of GMT and 2 squads still in Lava Siphon, if that's potentially new, who also has liked to land there before in the past, but we'll have to see as we get closer as where the circle is going to get pulled towards. And Harvester being that area, that's going to be interesting for a lot of our squads moving from the choke point from both Lava Siphon and away from Fragment.
Yeah. And I wonder how the zone's going to end up pulling. Obviously, last time it pulled south of Harvester, and that ended up costing GMT significantly. It's been kind of unfortunate. GMT have tried to predict these late rings, and sometimes it's kind of a guess, right? You can't exactly always predict. And a lot of these ring 3s, ring 4s have been a little bit unpredictable, and they've just been a little unlucky predicting wrong. Hopefully they get some charm, they get some luck here in game number 6, because if it pulls up towards Harvester, they find themselves in a great spot, especially with that Caustic and Crypto composition. As Gambit contested as always by Invictus. Not a hard contest. They're both going to be happy to split 50-50. More than enough loot over at Lava Siphon for the 2 of them, as we have those 2 teams that will be making their rotations here soon.
But you know what's crucial right here, Fallout? The beacon is going to go in favor for Invictus. You can see that Gambit wastes no time doing that too, but since they don't have the Crypto, they have the Valkyrie, which means that they have to overextend just to be able to get that beacon, potentially maybe even the dome that has to be used out. And now we're taking a look at Alliance as they are making their plans to start getting into the circle, looking pretty nicely looted. A lot of these squads are just trying to make sure that they have everything set up before they make those rotations into the circle.
Kick dropping big mod, going to make their rotation in as well. Kick has had a pretty good showing so far. A couple big games. Obviously had a huge win in game number 4. They're finding themselves rotating fairly quickly after getting some solid loot.
Yeah, they honestly popped off. We have to just look at the way that Osaka was playing that, and they're going to be able to come out of that with some momentum going into this game 6. Seeing what happened in game number 5 is so inspiring, just the way that Gambit has played so consistent. And look at Gambit already trying to get an aggressive position, noting that there was another squad that contested them in Lava Siphon, and they're just taking notes of who's going to be rotating from what direction.
Yeah, and they also recognize, hey, there's going to be Kick, there's going to be a couple teams, maybe from Geyser or the north side of the map, they're going to be rotating through, and as we say, that Kick actually works their way into Geyser. They're in zone right now. Don't know if they have the intel as to where the zone's going to pull. Not sure if they popped a beacon just yet, but let's go ahead and actually jump into a listen-in with Kick as they rotate.
Those guys.
Ping me heavy mag, please. I need it so hard.
Alright.
Did you loot number 4?
I didn't loot any house. I
only loot number 3.
All the houses
Okay.
are for you, bro.
Bro, I have the fucking helmet of shit.
I'm not watching around. I'm looting. Okay.
I'm watching. I'm not watching tunnel, but I'm watching top on the right side.
Okay.
Remember to get digitals.
Top creep. I'm gonna act like we didn't see them. I think we can force a fight against them. We win easy.
Yeah.
Talking about.
I don't see them. I think they fall back. I think they fall back. I just saw a GB, so.
Be careful, Erica. I'm going for the coins.
Yeah, sliding down.
Okay.
Yeah, they are going to the geyser. Can we shoot? Yeah, nobody's with me.
Wait,
one is on roof.
Purple one purple.
Give it.
One geyser, one guy, 2 geyser. This Gibby is solo here, right?
He's
Two guys on the left.
He's solo, no?
No, two guys.
He's gonna leave this door.
They're crossing.
Give me now.
50.
Give me now. No.
I'm gonna take the roof of this house, okay?
Give is crossing now.
One guy on me. Listen.
They have 2 purples at least. I can get angles.
Hey, break the door. This is the one guy on roof.
Be careful, guys.
Yeah. One guy here.
Destroy the drone if you can.
I cannot. I'm coming back a little bit, okay?
Yeah. He missed on me.
They're forcing it.
Bubble, can you? Never mind. I'm fine.
You bubble.
I'm fine.
I put them in that bubble.
I'm killing.
He's pushing the house. He's number 4 already. He's number 4. I'm with you, Uchi.
I'm healing.
Give me here.
I'm healing. Kiarka, you are alone.
Back there.
I know.
Give you on the bubble. Pushing in. I hit for 70.
I'm burning them.
Kill the guys in the house.
He's cracked inside.
I'm pushing from behind. Push the house.
Pushing.
I'm still burning.
Knock one.
I got cracked.
I need help.
He's
knock another one.
Nice.
Another guy me. Last guy. 2 guys are please. Nice.
I'm pressing. Watch out, 3 piece here.
Dropping shield.
Please, can you drop the bubble?
Shields. Take it. OG, listen my calls, bro.
You mean this? I thought it's blue.
Yes. No. Just listen.
I'm full.
But I don't have a medkit. Can I get some?
Yeah, you will get it. Just loot. I'm holding the spot.
Nice fight. Now.
Nice fucking fight. Nice job, OG.
There is 2x here.
Good fucking job, OG. Well played, bro.
Nice. Well played.
Bro, there's a portal. It's yours, Ushak.
It's mine, bro. Because the crypto was here, so.
Great listening with Kick, where you hear a little bit of everything. You hear the rotation. You hear their decision to take that 3v3 and a little bit of conflict as well. Obviously, people hear that and think that a team might be dysfunctional, but conflict sometimes is a good thing in the grand scheme of things in esports.
And it gets so chaotic. That's why you hear them shouting. That's why you hear them repeating a lot of these call-outs, because it's so important to know when you get somebody cracked. I really like the way that Hiraka actually was able to call out the 2 thermites that he threw off, blocking the only entrance that would have allowed the opposing squad, which was Cat Boys, from pushing in. But that also highlights why you have to choose your battles carefully, even when you have the aggressive stance of having the advantage, getting the crack first. You don't want to overextend. You don't know where a lot of these buildings, where a lot of the positioning of the opposing squads are going to be, especially when your only scan character is Crypto, so the drone won't really help you out when it's not in the line of sight of the squad.
Well said. Meanwhile, we'll rotate back to Harvester, where the zone's going to be finishing here. On board with Rascals, they find themselves in a fight, most likely with GMT, and they're going to take it with aggression. 2 wingman cracks going to come through, but Crypto EMP is going to hit. Alpha Draft's going to get melted. Not able to finish the shot, though, and just like that, it's actually New Esports who get taken out. I wonder where GMT is positioned in all of this, because you think they would love the opportunity to third party.
Yeah, thinking actually if GMT was just booted out because of New, and now Rascals moved in for the third party, maybe that's what they heard all the action going on, because you noted that right here that there was only one last member of that squad left, and so they cleaned up. They're going to be able to get that KP, and now we're going to be able to see Alliance as they are hugging the edge of the circle. We're used to Alliance doing this, especially since they want to play this patiently, noting that they're in second place right now, and this is the last game for EMEA.
You're right. This is exactly what Alliance does on these near zones. They take their time. They make sure to clear out their behind so they don't get flanked, because that's always one of the worst things. You want to avoid teams coming from Skyhook, and we know that quite a few of the Skyhook dropped teams, like La Cité France, like to rotate down through Lava Fissure all the way to Thermal Station and around. So they're checking their back, making sure they're not getting flanked. But again, look at where the zone's pulling. This time it's going to be pulling north. So I wonder where GMT ended up positioning themselves. It looks like that they might be that blue team with the blue triangles at the top of Harvester. They decided to position themselves on high ground, I think. We can hopefully check in with GMT to see where they're at, because this is a big game for them. Meanwhile, the Claudion fanboys still on the north side of the map. They like to take their time on these rotations playing edge.
Also interesting to think, if it is GMT, if they didn't want to push in for that fight, how patient is GMT necessarily playing right now? They usually play very aggressive. Nasky being able to have those callouts, and we actually getting to see, yeah, they are playing this patiently. They're running the Caustic crypto composition. No Gibby in here, so that's why they're holding onto this building. They'd rather take this slowly.
Yeah, interesting. They decided to take the Snake building over towards Lava Siphon as opposed to sticking in Harvester. So I wonder if that was an intentional strat call as opposed to last game where they stayed in Harvester, or they got forced out and forced to rotate to the Snake building. Nonetheless, they're going to occupy this real estate. Badoli's going to kind of be the anchor, holding it down to make sure no teams are coming from the south side of the map. Meanwhile, Dell and Nasky going to try and see if they can get some long-range poke level up their Evo shield. The teams are just starting to clump here at Harvester, and one team that's under some duress, it's Navi.
Oh yeah, they're down, they're Gibby. They don't have the same cover with the dome. See them just trying to hold this position, but with this position, you know that a third party is going to move in. Oh, we hit those shots, getting a knock off of that. Now they're going to be able to move in. They see the opportunity, but there is another squad coming in for the third party.
Kuya, disgusting play from him, but he's going to get shut down here, all up to Strafe. The last alive, it's a 1v1. And I'm not sure if he wants to let the revive come through. He might actually just say, you know what, let's trade revive for revive here. Tosses a Kobe type of thermite, has the portal to get his teammate back up, and it looks like both teams will reset. Clean and Navi, they go again.
See the other squad moving in. They hear the res coming out, and they're going to be able to finish it off here. Now Navi get the KP for that, and they're away from the line of sight of the third party, so they're just hugging the corner.
Look at Infernal trying to get some cheeky angles, but not really going to do much there. 14 squads remain in game number 6. This is the finale of what's been a exciting, action-packed Group A versus C so far. Eternal started strong with a win. We'll see if they can end strong and bookmark it with a win as well. Now they get the revive. Oh, but the third party's gonna come.
Oh, and the follow-up with the EMP too. Navi's in trouble. Only 2 members left, but look how low they are. Can they pull off these heals? We know that the Eternal's also on the high ground right now, overlooking a lot of this action.
Yeah, Eternal might want a third party this if they have a chance, but they have such a good position in Harvester, they don't want to give it up because they know as soon as they leave the third party, some team's going to take their spot. Wise decision for Eternal to hold on to high ground, and a good job right here from Shex. He's going to shut down Navi. That is it. Goodbye and good night to Navi in their game 6.
That's No Fear Gaming, who was putting on so much of that pressure. But again, we have to note Eternal were on the high ground, noting everything that was happening. A lot of these squads are already making the rotation, like you were calling it, Fallout, into this circle, into Harvester. But it's about the timing of making these rotations, because you know that once you get in there, a lot of these third parties are going to come out when you're trying to clutch out some of that KP. You want to make sure you get as many points as possible for this game 6, the final game within our region.
That's right. As things slow down here, notice how Alliance is going to have to rotate, and Hockey is the rotator legend trying to help that and help make that decision. It's going to be a tough rotation for Alliance, a tough game for Alliance, but knowing them, they'll find a way. As we switch on over to Dead Inside, absolute carnage with the defensive bombardment. Here comes the drop from Valkyrie, trying to get some nice higher ground angles, and they're pushing this last solo.
That's exactly what they're going to do, and they also have the beacon right on top of this building too, so once they finish, they can clean up Dead Inside with that KP. They can easily just scan that beacon if they haven't done so already, which is why there was probably fighting happening in that building.
Hockey's going for a potential kidnap. Is he going to do it? And the defensive bombardment's going to stop that and shut that down real quick. Instead, he uses it for some slight positioning. And if Vive says, yeah, I don't need the portal, I can just walk it.
Oh, but it actually forces them to back off a little bit. This Le Seek de France actually fighting for this high ground. They want to have a good overlook of the action happening in Harvester without getting too close, putting themselves at risk, and Alliance are backing off. I like that decision to disengage because they're noting that right now the trade may not be in their favor with Le Seek de France seeing another squad behind them.
Yeah, Le Seek de France is doing such a good job gatekeeping Alliance right now. I mentioned it earlier. This is going to be a really tough zone for Alliance to work their way into, especially with Le Seek de France keeping them from pushing. Of course, when we say gatekeep, for those that are new to competitive Apex, it's when a team kind of holds the keys to the gate and disallows another team from entering into where the next zone is going to be by standing up a defensive wall, essentially what Le Seek de France is doing right now in purple, highlighted on your screen.
And a perfect positioning too. You can see right now as Alliance is just getting booted out of this position, they're forced to decide whether they want to make a longer rotation off to the side, but they have to start thinking about it right now. They have 35 seconds to move into this next circle.
It looks like Alliance decides to actually rotate and swing wide. Wise decision from them. I'd love to hear their comms. Let's jump into a listen-in with Alliance.
For now, just hold me. Hold me. Get it. Just go, play the spot. You gotta go, come here.
Yeah,
come. Yeah, you gotta come here.
I'm coming.
Please don't be a team here. That would fucking suck dick.
Just run.
That would suck massive cock if there's a team
Pop in
here.
a cell. We safe
We
it?
have time for this.
Yeah, I think we are.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is good. Still good. Did you say there was a team on tunnel, Akis?
Yeah. Fuck.
They should fight.
Broke the drone.
Ooh, might have to. Ooh, no, I should be fine.
Yeah.
I should be fine. Nice. Good shit. That's what we like to see. Good comms.
I got 7 cells. Akis, how many cells?
12 cells and 2 Phoenix hits. And
Kick is
2...
knocked. 1 knocked by Kick. This is really good for us.
We need to play aggressive right side now. I'm Phoenix here.
How many cells did you manage to pick up?
I'm 12.
Okay.
I'm dropping 4 here.
No one's actually peeking.
Let's see where this pulls. We can take high ground here. High ground is playable because nobody behind us.
Cell. How many cells do you have, Yuki?
I have 7.
Okay, take that.
Okay. You
this is fucking. We have the Valko underneath here or something. Yeah, we have the Valko underneath here or something.
I'm not dropped down a wall. Look lava. There's only 12 gold though. There should be some spots free.
Maybe even out here. No, we can't.
Just hold me. I'm trying to scout as much as possible.
Okay. Did Kick get finished? Do you know?
No, there's a team here. Might be a solo caustic here. No, not a solo. Valk should be caustic. Or Valk caustic something.
Could be solo though. There is a solo. Oh, he died. Kick her out.
Shit. Just keep looking about. Is there anyone in here?
I don't see anybody inside. I do not see anybody inside.
I'm knocking the door.
I think Tiger's left.
Okay, move up to me. Move up to me.
Yeah.
Take this fucking room.
I need to sell.
Yeah, sell first.
I'm scouting low ground.
We're gonna go beneath. We're gonna go beneath. Heal up first, Vibes. We're gonna move together here like a fucking...
I don't see anyone on the other side.
Okay, we're good.
Go.
I'm gonna make a TP for it. I'm making a TP for him from below here. Okay?
Yeah.
You gotta look for me. I don't know if it's safe. There's a team there. I'm gonna see if I'm in here though. Okay, no, hold. Keep holding.
I think I'm in a shit spot.
Where's the conquer? Come here. We take this corner.
Okay.
We take this corner.
I'm coming.
I'm with you.
There's a drone here. Careful the other side.
I'm on the TP.
Crack the one on the other side.
Take a TP?
Yeah, you can take TP.
Yeah, take it. It's safe. Just cross to me.
Focus over side. I'm gonna come to you, Hackers.
We gotta look for a 3P above us now. I'm batting.
Shit. I only have 1 cell now.
I got double headshot.
Careful, Phoenix, take it. Don't peek now. We don't have resources. No reason to peek at all.
Yeah, I'm 2-7. Just carry nades now.
Why take this house?
Faculty?
Care faculty. Do you ulta cell?
Give me an armor, Vibes.
Yeah, I have to.
And yet another great rotation from Alliance. They're outside a zone, had to find a way around Le Seek de France, who was gatekeeping, and they find themselves in a somewhat okay spot here, coming into this late game.
Interested to see here too. A lot of his squads that have already been booted out of this lobby, the final game, dead inside, still racking up a lot of KP. See Gambit Esports now putting themselves out in the opening. Nice to know that there's another squad right behind them, but these Arc Stars getting the break, getting them down, and now Hardeki, who's been so consistent all week long now, moving in, having to pop the shield back in time. They have the safety of the dome to avoid this bombardment, but that's also some insurance to ensure that they won't get pushed.
Hardeki is playing out of his mind today. We saw him last game clutch up. Now connects for a long-range Arc Star, some way, somehow still alive here. 10 squads remain, make it 9, as Gambit might find their earliest exit all tournament this game unless they can clutch up. And Hardeki does it again.
How does he do it all the time? The EVA 8 the strafing, just being able to also call in the mobile respawn beacon right next to the box too. Gambit Esports, they are rolling the dice here, but they are loving their positioning all the way through.
Yeah, and ultimately, they're on fire. I mean, they can't be stopped right now. They're playing such good Apex. And now we jump on board with Rascals again, who has taken out a few teams already. 4 or 5 or 6 kills right now in the hands of Rascals. Great work from them. I'd love to check in with some other teams here. GMT, how do they rotate? Are they still alive? As we'll try and keep an eye on the overall teams alive tracker here in a moment. And we got 7 teams left. GMT is one of them.
GMT, yeah, is still in this. I'm wondering, yeah, right here, actually, looking, it's a 2-man squad, actually, and they were unable to get Nessie's banner, so that's going to be crucial because they won't have the intel necessary for their safe rotation since they don't have the crypto on the team.
Yeah, I think we have 3 teams at the bottom of this donut. We know Alliance is one of them, and we're going to have a bit of a standoff here. They'll stare at each other like a good old Western across the way. Alliance, we mentioned, the other, and you see them nearby, and of course 5 other squads above them and nearby as well.
Excited to see what Alliance is going to do right here. They're going to ease their way into the circle, noting that there's a squad right above them too. Want to funnel out? That's Gambit Esports actually off to the side. They're backing off. They just want to go in for some pokes before Alliance now has made their aggressive rotation into the circle.
And I love when you see a Gambit and Alliance clash. It's always a fun fight. So we got Gambit nearby. Alliance might just try and take them out because they know they have Gambit behind them, and they're going to have to clean them out eventually. So I wonder how Alliance play this. Do they decide to double back for that team, or will they just let themselves get sandwiched? I mean, that is not the right option here, and the sandwich is going to come through. And as you always say, in a sandwich of Apex, you never want to be the meat, you want to be the bread. And right now, the meat is just eaten up.
Oh no, hold the condiments here. Gambit Esports now are in some trouble too. They're going to be able to get the res, but forcing out the dome, letting everybody know on the high ground that they're getting the res right here, and they're going to get dove on. They get taken out. Rascals capitalizing off of that situation. That's Gambit and Alliance out.
Wow, and as we say that, it looks like they're just going to double back, get those free kills, take that positioning now, and find themselves in a great spot with a ton of opportunity for shield swaps. Look at all the loot, and you see Rascals probably in the best position. I mean, keep an eye in the top left. This is that final ring that's going to slowly close in and pull to that very central point you see on your map at the top left, and Rascals is right there. Best position team to win this game.
They need to hold this, and they're going to have so much loot to work with, too. Potential shield drops if they want to go for the quick shield swaps here, like GMT is trying to do in this situation. As a 2-man squad, you can only have so much to work with, and you have those caustic barrels as some makeshift cover. Yeah, and if there's 2 you want alive, it's going to be Dell, it's going to be Badoli on the Caustic, but a team of 2 in this scenario is not going to be a great situation. Are they going for the kidnap? No, they're going to drop a port, but that's going to be a port that they don't want to take because a team is right there ready for them. So that's a wasted portal. They're going to have to walk it, and it's going to be very rough for GMT. At least what you could take away from that portal is they have the intel that there is a squad underneath there. They know that they can't take that portal out, and so that's something that they could try to work off of, but they also have to note that Les de France, they're holding on to this high ground. Yeah, this is a stacker in this late game. Stacked like pancakes. 1 team on top, 1 team on the mid ground, 1 team on the bottom and low ground. So in the end, we do have these 4 squads. Team of 2 in GMT, probably in the worst position you'd think. If they can pull something out of nothing, that would be beyond impressive. But Les de France on top of the hill, or since I'm wearing a Greek god costume, I guess I'll say on top of the Acropolis right now, looking at their opponents. No Fear Gaming also holding inside here. GMT Esports are moving in, though, as a duel. Rascal's going to note that here. They're still holding this low ground. They should not move. They're actually expecting a squad to maybe come out of the portal, not knowing that it was a 2-man squad originally. Meanwhile, GMT, the squad that did try to roll up with the squad here, whether with the portal, but Dolly's a lone warrior left for GMT. He can't do it. The red Evo shield was too much from Sheds to be able to pull out from there. And so now Les de France, they're still going to hold on to this high ground, looking at all the chaos happening underneath them.
And Dell just put in so much work, just needed Badoli to connect for 1 or 2 EV8 shots, and they would have clutched that 2v3, but instead, GMT goes out in 4th. We have Le Cité France, we have Rascals, both on top of one another. Defensive bombardment's going to come through. That's going to be huge. That's going to force LCDF to pop their bubble, and they won't have it for the late game.
And Alpha got a knock in the process right before the dome had gone out. That's absolutely huge here. That's good intel for Rascals, but there is still a squad holding the inside of the building. They may not want to fully send it, but they have to still poke out eventually because they're going to get stuck in circle here.
Here comes the fight. It's going to be Alpha Draft flanking wide left with the 8 connecting for almost every shot. Joke is going to absolutely lay into their opponents, but in the end, it's Rascals who comes out on top as your champions of game number 6.
What a performance from Rascals, keeping their cool, climbing out of the low ground, having that situation built up for them, but the bombardment, forcing out Le Cité France to put down their dome early was key there, especially that down that we saw before the fight even happened.
Wow, what a start from Alpha Draft. That's what really kicked things off for Rascals, right? They got the first knock as the defensive bombardment came through. Big misplay from LCDF. All they had to do is stay alive within that dome. Wow. And instead, Rascals with a monster Game 6 performance. 15 kills, 27 points. And we said it going into Game 6. We said any of these teams in the top 12 can drop a 25-plus bomb and secure a top 3 finish. It might just be Rascals doing it.
Rascals coming through. Before this game, they were in 6th place, I believe, with only 33 points. But with this victory, they're going to skyrocket up the leaderboards. We noted Gambit Alliance, the 2 squads that were both in 1st and 2nd place. They had gone down, 1 in 6th, the other one, I believe, in 5th place. But that's absolutely huge here, looking at the squads that we had left for that final game.
That's right. GMT, a modest 7 points as well. So not the best showing for them, obviously. And they, of course, took a few gambles in where they predicted the end game and the zone to pull. And unfortunately did not come out on top in those gambles. But in the end, it was Rascals. Paradise. Been here for a while. No stranger to the ALGS, playing against some rookies in Alpha Draft. Look at the performance from the Gibraltar. I mean, that's a 9-kill, 2K game for a Gibby. You don't see that very often, Vicky.
Absolutely not. You don't really have the opportunity. I mean, to get the damage, absolutely. You got that arm shield at the very least to poke, but 9 kills on top of that, that highlights how Rascals was able to pop off that final game. It's all about that momentum, Follow. You want to make sure you start off strong here, and Rascals, they wanted to end it strong. So much KP too. 15 kills. I believe that is the most amount of kills from a winning team that we've seen thus far today in the EMEA region.
That's right. Massive performance. I mean, that's a top 5 all-time ALGS Pro League performance as well with the 15-kill game. I think our record is 19 in 1 game so far in Pro League. So Rascals right underneath there. Great showing from them. They're certainly going to earn some fans with that one. And I'm just interested to see where that's going to put them in the overall standings because, as you said, they were in 6th place with 33 points. A 25-point game, well, that'll put them at least in the top 3. But to figure that out, we're going to pull Kate back onto the desk to break it down with us.
Well, hey there, everybody. Thank you so much. And yes, you're absolutely right. Rascals coming out strong, certainly proving that loot is excellent in the late game if you can get it. But let's talk a little bit about, I'm actually going to change up while we wait for our overall leaderboards to become available because this last match was interesting and certainly, however, certainly not quite indicative of our first 5. As we saw, Alliance, Gambit, we'll see in the highlights here for game number 6, I should say. Let's break this down first before I go into my idea earlier. Fallout, bring me through how it is that we got to a late game that was just so rampantly ridiculous.
Rambunctious, honestly.
There you go. That's the word.
We saw New Esports over and guys are take a 3v3, sorry, not New Esports, Kick, take a 3v3 fight with success. And then again, a Harvester finish. You saw the Harvester pull early. You saw teams like GMT think it was going to pull a little bit to the east. Instead, it pulls on a hard Harvester finish. And as a result, so many teams stacked like pancakes in this late game. It was just crazy, Vicky.
Yeah, looking at the way that a lot of these teams made those early rotations to Harvester, and then noting the position of where Rascals was when they first started initiating these fights, they were in a great position. They were playing the edge of Harvester before coming in at the perfect time for these third parties. Without taking that early position, they were at risk from a lot of these squads rotating from the northern part of the map because how many other squads are going to have to make that same rotation to know, all right, guys, we already got to make our journey over to the southern side of the map because we got a south circle again.
Just pulling those southern circles here. Well, let's take a look at what the math tells us. It's our leaderboards already. This is where the fun will happen. Remember, math is fun, gang. Math is fun. Let's take a look. Wow. Vicky, talk to me about, I mean, Gambit Esports, but let's also mention that while Gambit and Alliance were volleying a bit in the early part of this match, Rascals coming up 4 to get number 2.
They scooted their way over and booted Alliance to 3rd place, and that highlights Rascals moving up 4 places with 60 points, and Gambit going down, I believe, in 6th to 5th place with 69 points. That means that Gambit only secured 9 extra points in comparison from what they were moving away from in that 5th game when they had just won. That highlights how many points Rascals really did secure for themselves, and why the competition here in EMEA is so shoulder to shoulder. We have so many ties here too.
Absolutely. And Onset, sorry, I've been talking Onset all day. Fallout, Julius Fallout, they call him. Talk to me a little bit about our teams on the right side of our leaderboard, because as I had mentioned, really there is 2 stories, those on the left and those on the right.
That's right. It's a slower game for new esports, right? Who is in the top 10, top 11 in the standings overall. That's going to actually shove them down the standings a little bit. Underrated. Another team that had high expectations coming into Pro League with the pickup of Jazz from 3rd Impact, a former champion himself. Unfortunately, not able to perform today either. Those are the 2 that really stick out to me. Outside of that, Zeta and Navi, both with okay games, didn't necessarily have the performance they would have liked either. But they'll at least go home with 1 or 2 points in the overall Pro League standings. So that's good.
Yeah, speaking of, let's talk about it here, Vicky. I mean, yep, I just heard you, Vicky. I'm gonna let you go with that one because that was a reaction that I was looking for.
I think that was Follow, but we're basically on the same page here. Yeah. I was taken aback though the same way because I look at Gambit and this is a squad that popped off the first week. I think they finished with 58 points, but then in the second week, kind of similar to a lot of our other squads, looking at both the EMEA region and the NA region, they kind of fell short. I believe they secured 35 points, and then they brought everything back around. In the overall leaderboards now, they're sitting in 1st place, 23 points, side by side Guild Esports, a squad that we saw pop off yesterday with 21 points.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Fala, as a reminder here, we're on page 1 of 2, but we also have gone through now round 3, day 6, gosh, of this particular tournament of our Pro League, which means that all of these are up to date.
Yep. And one thing that stood out to me on the page is Alliance breaks into the top 10 for the first time. Welcome to qualification, Alliance. Because keep in mind, folks, top 10 will qualify for the Split 1 playoffs. That's going to be the crucial point. But on this page here, 789, Reply Totem, Future Perfect, a few teams I think you would have expected to play maybe just a little bit better. But the biggest surprise to me, Rebel in 35th place. That is not what you'd expect from the former Flavor of the Month Winter Circuit champions. Not the best start to Pro League 3 weeks in for them.
Absolutely. Well, let's actually talk real quick about that because obviously we are knee deep. Okay, we certainly have that round robin format, that double round robin format, I should say, on lock, and we're virtually in the middle of our rounds here. We've gone through 3. We have 6 total. It's 3 more to go. So, Vicky, if you're gonna put your coach hat on for me for a second, you're looking at those teams on that second page of our EMEA standings. Perfect. That's the one. Talk to me a little, sign language through. Talk to me a little bit about what you're telling these teams. Are you making the changes? Are you looking at it going, go for it. Let's continue on with our idea and see what happens.
I think something we gotta highlight, looking at where we are now, week number 3, is that taking away from the last 2 weeks, we see a lot of spots experimenting with compositions they may not have been very comfortable with, and now we're seeing a shift where a lot of these teams are playing what they are comfortable with. They're finding the success despite it not being the meta of what a lot of successful teams are having. But also, I like the contention that we're having. The crypto EMPs in the EMEA region has been proven dominant because it stops things like, well, we have like 3 Loba teams here, but it stops the black market. It stops the dome from the Gibbies too, and that's extremely crucial in those last circle fights. But aside from that, and aside from our teams kind of figuring out their footing on what compositions they prefer, these circles have been lethal to a lot of the teams that have been landing in the northern side of the map. They don't know anybody. How are they supposed to know that the circle for the 6th time is going to get pulled to the south? And that benefits teams like Gambit.
And I just want to double up on that point made around Legends. It's almost like Legend Roulette that we're seeing week in and week out. Teams are trying to get an understanding or a footing of what comp works for them. And in scrims every week, we're seeing different comps. We're seeing a lot of inconsistency. It makes it hard to practice, obviously, for these top teams that have solidified their team comp. But a team like Alliance, right? They had no idea what comp they were going to run in weeks 1 and 2. It didn't work out well for them. They were trying Octane. They were trying Crypto. They're trying a variety of different things, finally going back to their bread and butter and what works. And now as a result, they're in a great spot here. Alliance with a massive week 3 because of it.
Absolutely. Well, a couple of our players, I would say several, have had some massive weeks, not just this weekend, but certainly last couple. But let's talk about this weekend primarily, and let's more importantly talk about individual players, which means it's time to talk Monster MVP. And I know today's Monster MVP discussion is gonna be a good one. I'm gonna jump over to Vicky first here, Fallout. Julius Fallout himself. Let's talk Vicky though. Who do you have? Who was in your sights throughout the day, and who really showcased their talents in our lobbies?
So I just have to preface this that I totally sped ran and stole Fallout's choice here because because we were both on the same page. So yeah, you know, I had to admit it right here. But it highlights the synergy here, but also it highlights how consistent Hardeki is as a player. He is absolutely insane. I feel like every single time, even during the games that Gambit was getting contested and they didn't win, where we constantly saw Hardeki with over 1,000 kills, and he's consistently been able to rack that damage every single game. And not only that, understanding these situations, even playing the crate off to his right, it seems so minimal, but with the circle closing in and then immediately reacting to utilizing that knockdown shield, this clutch was insane. But it's not surprising coming in from Hardeki because we've seen him come out with these clutches before.
Yeah, ridiculous 1v2 from Hardeki right there. But honestly, it was just the Hardeki show all tournament. Look at this stick. We're talking a 15-meter stick right there from Hardeki. He's going to connect with the Arc Star, takes out the wingman, puts in work under all types of duress and pressure, and actually came out on top in that fight. Hardeki played out of his mind. But for me, Kate, it was Hockeys. Back on Wraith, the return of the Hockeys, ladies and gentlemen. Roll the music, cue the AC/DC, as Hockeys was on fire today. He played out of his mind. It's good to see him back in home turf and familiar territory with Wraith. One of the best Wraith players in EMEA, hands down. And it allows him, it kind of unlocks his potential. Allows him to roam around the map free, allows him to make the right play calls by getting the intel he needs, by making the plays he needs for his squad. It was good to see Hockeys back on the Wraith. He was my MVP.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a look at what the math tells us here. With our kill leaderboards, find out which one of these members of our squads really came out. And believe it or not,
wow,
y'all, here it is.
And can I just say something?
You, Alpha Draft, please.
And kind of, we submitted our Monster MVPs prior to Game 6 when Alpha Draft went savage mode, all right? And the entire lobby is Gibraltar dropping almost a 10 bomb. He popped off. Big shot to Alpha Draft. Your MVP in terms of the kill category. What sticks out to you here, Vicky?
Honestly, aside from Alpha popping off with 9 kills and 2K in that last game, I'm looking at Osaku, the Wraith player who popped off themselves, also being able to clutch out that win. Kick with 8 kills and 20 points in that game 4, a really allowed Kick to build up that momentum, because I felt like after game 4, we saw them playing a lot more aggressive.
Yes, we did. Aggression is the word du jour. Well, that has been our Monster MVP segment for today in our EMEA region. And I want to jump in. As we know, consistency in Apex is the spice of life. It's not always the sexiest plays, but it does, in fact, have some real-life impact on some of these leaderboards. Real quick, before we head off, I want to ask, Fallout, let's start with you. You know, you just mentioned 2 team members, one from Gambit, one from Alliance. They did great in today's matches from a consistency standpoint, for sure, even though Alliance unfortunately didn't get a dub at all. But I want to real quick, Fallout, we'll start with you. Some of the key strats that we're working for Gambit and Alliance today that we really showed throughout our 6 games.
Yeah, well, from Alliance, you saw them do what they do best, right? They play edge. They play a very slow burn, slow rotation from Thermal Station. And I would just say, what works well for both of them? Well, they got 6 out of 6 south zones. That tended to work fairly well for both of them in terms of strats, which of course makes it a little bit easier not having to worry about the stress of a rotation.
Absolutely. Vicky, anything?
I think the most consistent thing that we got to talk about isn't just the teams, it's the circle themselves. The circle is the ultimate enemy here for a lot of these squads.
The circle's the MVP for Gambit and Alliance.
Actually, yeah. The way that it's just been so consistently pulling to the south should tell you that it allows a lot of these squads who see these southern zones to be their landing spot, where they're just going to come out on top because they're going to position themselves before any of these other squads and kind of plan 3 steps ahead. And that's what we've been seeing between a Gambit and Alliance, both at the same time.
Well, speaking of the same time and zones, let's pull it over to Onset, who's got a guy that we just talked a lot about, ready to go for our interview. Onset, over to you.
Thank you, Kate. And yeah, we've got someone who has probably got a big smile on his face right now, and it's Hardeki. You can see I've lost the mask, but one of the scariest things I've seen today is your team's performance, Hardeki. Firstly, congratulations. First place today. First place overall. What went so right for you guys today? What are you happiest about with your performance?
First of all, I want to say that I have translator, because my English is bad. Also, hello.
Hello, can you hear me? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. Do you hear my translator? Science question.
No, I don't, unfortunately. I can only hear you, Hardeki. Seems like we might be having a few problems with Hardeki. Can you hear me now?
It's okay that you not hear them. Is she gonna translate to me?
I'm sorry, Hardeki, we're having some technical issues, my friend. So we might have to just leave you be to celebrate today. But I will say this before you go, if you can hear me, congratulations on the performance. You guys absolutely rocked it today. You were amazing. I was going to ask you how you're so clutch all the time, but we'll have to get that response another time. So Kate, unfortunately, I failed at my job today, but it's back to you for now.
Well, don't you worry, El Gran Anseto, because Hardeki did not fail at his job today. Fallout did not fail at all.
Oh, not even close. Hardeki played out of his mind. Great performance from Hardeki. Great performance from the entire Gambit squad. 2 wins, 3 or 4 top 4 finishes. Great performance from Gambit all around.
Absolutely. Vicky, you called him out in the MVP discussion. I mean, last thing for those looking to level up their own games in ranked or queues, like what would you tell them about what Hardeki did today that they can take to their own gameplay?
You could see the way that Hardeki chose their fights. You see that they weren't trying to overextend, put themselves out in the open, playing a lot of the terrain, whether it's some makeshift cover or not, especially in a lot of those clips. But also, you could see the practice that Hardeki has when it comes to some of these flanks that we had seen from opposing squads trying to get right behind Gambit. They weren't in the best spot for that last game. They were out in the open, and they had rotated rather early. But you saw that Hardeki wasn't panicking there. You saw that Hardeki was playing these rocks, playing the cover, and understand that if you don't see more than a quarter of your screen, the rest of your screen is getting covered up by actual cover in the game, you're doing something good. You're peeking without overextending, because the moment you peek once in these lobbies, you are going to get melted. That is it. And Hardeki, recognizing that, has been able to come in clutch, especially with that Arc Star stick that we had seen earlier.
And Kate, you know, one thing I feel like we'd be remiss to not mention is around Gambit, great performance, but Rascals, second place. And we can say what we want about all these South zones. Rascals dropped Skyhook. The fact that they're able to drop Skyhook, consistently rotate with these max rotation zones, difficult zones to rotate from, and still perform at that level is beyond impressive. So yeah, great job Gambit, great job Alliance. We've hyped them up. We got to put some respect on the names of these unsigned teams. Hey, any organizations right now looking to sign an org or a team, we got Rascals who had a great performance today, coming from Skyhook all the way down south, 6 out of 6 games.
Absolutely. Difficult rotations in very scary lobbies. Well, let's take a look at predictions as well, and that would be the talent predictions, which I'm once again behind on. But guess what? Oh, Hound Kitty, close. You have pulled it out.
I called it too. I said, I'm. You know what? This is a squad I was looking at for a while, but I had to make sure to guess right, because I was thinking between Lucita France or even Gambit. But I said, no matter what, it needs to be better than Tom, because Tom popped off. It has to be better than T-Squared, because he can't have the last word here.
Wow. Well, yep, just moving right past it. Anyway, I totally agree, Vicky. Well, hey, speaking of something I agree on, and I know you do as well, we are going to be back in not too long for our North American broadcast. This was EMEA. We got North America coming on up. It's A versus C. It's all happening today, 3 p.m. Eastern. And you can go ahead and follow us on social for even more action and drama and fun. Dare I say fun? Yay, she does. Play Apex Esports. Play Apex Esports. Play Apex. Just go and follow us. Give us a free sub. Enjoy a free follow. We heart you real hard. And you know what? We will be back for North America in not too long here this afternoon. But if you go ahead and stick with us, we'll see you in a bit. Thanks, guys.
And hey, babe, let's get it.